You know, folks, the whole world is talking about Bitcoin. Want to know why? Maybe it's because Bitcoin rose in value over 150% last year, and this is just the beginning. Bitcoin is online investing that anyone can do. Visit bitcoinuniversity.org today. Take a master class. Download the Book of Bitcoin and take your investment portfolio to the next level. Visit bitcoinuniversity.org and discover all that a Bitcoin can do for you. That's bitcoinuniversity.org, bitcoinuniversity.org.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
The White House says President Joe Biden and President-elect Donald Trump will meet in the Oval Office. The post-election meeting is a tradition between an ongoing and incoming president to demonstrate the nation's peaceful transfer of power. Trump did not host Biden after the 2020 election, and since his speech on election night, President-elect Donald Trump has stayed away from the cameras, but behind the scenes, he's said to be taking calls and shaping a short list for his second administration.
President Biden says that he's not going to pardon his son, Hunter. Is he going to ask Donald Trump to do that?
I don't have anything else to share about that. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this. I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked
You've been clear about nothing.
And we know that at some point during the last Trump transition, then President Obama warned Trump that the biggest threat to the U.S. at the time was North Korea. Is President Biden going to run through what he sees the biggest threats to the country are with Donald Trump?
I am not going to get into a specific agenda of what they're going to discuss. And this is very much to the question that I got from MJ. What does the president what's the message he wants to send tomorrow? And it is to the American people. The importance of keeping the norms, the importance of having a transition that is going to be efficient. This is what the American people deserve. And that's the message. And I think when you all come into the Oval Office tomorrow, you do the pool spray, you capture that moment. That is an important message to send to the American people. That's what the president cares about. I'm not going to get into details about any conversation or agenda.
And we know that today, a week after the election, President Biden and Vice President Harris had a private lunch. How awkward was that?
I don't even understand. Why would it be awkward?
Because
why would it
President
be awkward?
Why would it be awkward? And then she kept him at arm's length, and then she lost, and now she's back.
Why would you characterize it as awkward? They have regular lunches. They meet and talk regularly. Why would you call it awkward?
So there's no weirdness about the way that things have unfolded since
Did you see them?
paper.
Did you see them together yesterday as well when they honored our veterans and were together?
They looked like they hated each other
during the day, making sure that we didn't forget the brave men and women that fought for this country. Did you see them together yesterday? Did you see the show of force together?
There's no force.
This is. I'm not even going to take the premise of the question. What I will say is the president and the vice president had lunch today. They've had lunch many times.
Yeah.
They have they communicate with each other regularly.
Why?
They had an opportunity to discuss the last 70 days or so of this administration.
Fantastic.
How important it is to get things done
for
the American people.
When are they going to start?
And that's their focus. That is genuinely their focus.
President Trump has just announced Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will lead the Department of Government Efficiency. That's DOGE. Doge? Now, Trump released a statement saying it will become potentially the Manhattan Project of our time. The Department of Government Efficiency will provide advice and guidance from outside of the government and will partner with the White House and Office of Management and Budget to drive large-scale structural reform and create an entrepreneurial approach to government never seen before. Yes, the president has just announced that Kristi Noem, the governor, of course, Governor Kristi Noem, will be his DHS secretary pick. Jason, how great is that? How great is that news? Some people wanted her at Interior. They thought that was a better choice. But nevertheless, she'll be heading DHS, it looks like.
Yeah, she's got her hands full. There's something like 265,000 people at Homeland Security. You got about 65,000 that are at the Transportation Security Administration. You have the Secret Service. You got FEMA. You got FLETC, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. You got the Coast Guard. You got the Secret Service.
President-elect Trump also announced today that he'll nominate former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee to be the U.S. ambassador to Israel. Trump says Huckabee is a staunch supporter of Israel and will, quote, work tirelessly to bring about peace in the Middle East. The nomination comes as the president-elect promises to bring U.S. policy more in line with Israel's interests as conflict in the region continues to escalate.
Trump just announcing that our own Pete Hegseth will be his Secretary of Defense. Pete, of course, has been a host here at Fox for a number of years. He's an Army veteran where he served in Afghanistan, in Iraq. Trump saying, quote, Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and for the country. He's tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are on notice. Our military will be great again, and America will never back down. Wow, that is pretty cool. Gosh, we're gonna miss him at Fox, but that's a gain for the country.
Land of confusion, Phil Collins and Genesis. A lot going on. You know, we've got that big lunch at the White House today. The current president, although I think most people forgot that Joe Biden is still the president of the United States. And then you've got the president-elect, our buddy Trump. They're going to have lunch today. And you heard some audio from Fox News from the guy, Peter Doocy. We like Peter. His father, Steve, of course, is part of the Fox and Friends show with Brian Kilmeade, who will join me coming up in about 30 minutes. And Doocy's like, well, what do you expect from this big lunch today between Trump and Biden? She's like, I'm not going to answer that. Okay. Wait a second. You're the White House press secretary. You dumb biatch. He asked her 3 questions in the audio we played this morning, and every time she said, well, I'm not going to answer that question. Well, then what are you doing up there, stupid? I don't understand. I'm not going to answer it. You know why you're not going to answer it, Corinne Jean-Pierre? Because you don't have any answers. Because, and this is going to sound rough, but I'm Sid Rosenberg, you're stupid. That's why. So whether it's Alina Habba or Sid Rosenberg for a day or Tucker Carlson, any one of these folks, I can promise you this, when President Trump picks his White House press secretary, ain't going to be, I'm not going to answer that. It's going to be, let me tell you, and it may get ugly, but we're going to answer. Someone's going to answer. I can promise you that.
Well, I'm not going to talk about whether I'm stupid or not. You're now, what's next?
And then she's such a lying sack of garbage. I mean, the lunch between Biden and Harris yesterday, and Ducey goes, man, that must have been awkward. She's like, no, why would you say that? Why would he say that? I don't know. Maybe because Harris, after lying for 3 years about Biden's true state, his physical and mental true state, ended up stabbing him in the back. She thought she was going to win the presidency. She thought she was going to win easily. And she threw Biden to the side after he picked her like he was garbage. What do you mean? Why would it be awkward? Everybody knows that Biden hates all of them. He hates Harris. He hates Obama. They can go to lunch every day. They can talk on the phone every day. He hates her. So when Ducey says how to be awkward, and she should just say, listen, Pete, I know that's what it looks like on the outside, but the truth is, instead of, what kind of question is that? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? She's such an idiot. Seriously. It really bothers me. It makes me angry when you put somebody that stupid in front of the American people and expects us to believe that nonsense, which we don't anymore. That's part of the reason why the Democrats lost, because they're liars. They're filthy, disgusting liars. Of course thank you. Of course it's awkward. See, how to get through all that nonsense, and today is the actual lunch. What do you think, Noam Laden? Smart guy.
What's that?
What do you think Trump and Biden, I know Trump is coming to New York this weekend for the UFC. I don't think that'll come up during the lunch conversation. So what do you think Trump and Biden talk about today?
I think they'll probably get into real stuff. I mean, obviously not in front of the cameras, but when the cameras are not off, they'll talk about the Middle East, talk about the economy. They kind of, they haven't really, when was the last time they spoke? Was it the debate?
The debate,
yeah.
Right. And by the way, and what's funny is Biden's the president. Guess who's running the country? Trump. Trump this week spoke to Vladimir Putin. Trump this week spoke to Zelensky. Trump this week spoke to Bibi 4 times. Donald Trump is running the country, not Joe Biden. I mean, Biden shows up and, he did a couple of days ago with that Veterans Day deal with Harris. It looked like they hated each other. That's another thing she said. Well, they were just together yesterday. Yeah, I saw the video. They look like they hated each other.
I'm sure they do.
I mean, what are you talking about? But he shows up with stuff like that, but all the real work right now is being done by Trump. And he's not even the real president yet. You know that, no?
Well, this whole meeting is just for the global stage and for Americans, because it's not like the president doesn't know his way around the White House. Normally, you do this meeting so he can show him where he's going to be living. I mean, he knows all that already.
He has all that, yeah.
So this is just to say, hey, this is going to be a peaceful transfer of power. It's all going to work out.
Well, it's not completely peaceful because Trump's beautiful wife, Melania.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
She ain't coming because she angry, as she should be, with Dr. Jill, who's a douche, the president's wife. She angry because Jill was, of course, in power when the government raided Mar-a-Lago and went through Melania's panty drawers, by the way. It was gross. So she's pissed. So she's not going. So it's not a complete peaceful transfer of power. I do remember when Trump took over after Obama, for example, the 4 of them were together. It was Barack, Michelle, Donald, and Melania. This time it's only going to be the boys because Melania can't stand Dr. Jill, and she's courageous enough to say it, which I love, don't you?
Yeah, why not? Let her speak her mind.
Yeah, I'm not coming. No, thank you, Dr. Jill. No, thanks. Go to the Eagles game this weekend and, do what you do out there. Pick your husband up when he falls down in the sand like he did 3 times last Sunday. How hard was that video to watch?
Oh, my God, it was really hard.
I mean, really hard.
Yeah.
Let's get to some of these picks. So the first one was Kristi Noem. I think Curtis is still yelling about it. Listen, I don't surround myself with Democrats. I don't care, for example, what Dan Goldman thinks. I don't care what Rachel Maddow thinks. So I surround myself with Republicans. They're on my team, And I haven't heard a lot of people nearly as critical about the Noem choice as, say, Curtis is going to be, But they may be lying. I don't know. Maybe Curtis is right. I don't know. I know that Jason Shevitz last night with Laura Ingraham talked about how massive a job it is. And we know that Mayorkas should be in prison. He's done a horrendous job. 265,000 people when you consider the Secret Service, the Coast Guard, FEMA, transportation, all those things go into play here. That's a lot of people, Noam Layden. It's a very, very big job. And what's funny is I thought for some reason that she was out of good favor because she shot the dog. And everybody was furious. Judge Pirro, for example, wouldn't even look at her. But I guess Trump forgave her. Or maybe he wasn't all that angry in the first place. I know Donald Trump loves a pretty woman. I get it. He may be, when it comes to that, he may lead the league in how obvious he is. But while she's pretty, that's a very, very big job. Now, I'm not going to say she can't do it, Curtis will. I'm not going to say that. I got to see. I don't know. But it does seem like an odd choice. Is that fair to say?
Well, she was and has been a very vocal supporter of Donald Trump, and so he rewards those people, and clearly he thinks that she's up to the job.
Yes, he does. Let's get to the next one, and that is the ambassador to Israel. Now, look, I got to be transparent. I am very, very close to David Friedman. You guys know that. Very close. So I was under the impression, after the job he did the first time, don't forget, Trump, his son-in-law Jared Kushner, and David Friedman played an integral part in the Abraham Accords. I'm saying, this guy helped put together the Abraham Accords. He's in Israel all the time. He just wrote a book called One Jewish State. He, like me, believes that there'll never be a two-state solution, ever. He's really worried about the future of Judea and Samaria. You folks call it the West Bank. He did a great job. So I thought it was a slam dunk. He was coming back. But he's not. Now, I love Mike Huckabee. And Mike Huckabee probably epitomizes the Judeo-Christian values of this country more than anybody. And Huckabee loves Israel. I think he's been to Israel 10 times since October the 7th. So he's certainly not a bad guy for the job. In fact, I remember one of the organizations that sponsored my last trip to Israel here on WABC, in their commercial was Mike Huckabee. So we know Huckabee loves Israel. We know that he cares about the relationship between Christians and Jews. And I'm certainly not upset over Mike Huckabee, but I was surprised that it wasn't David Friedman again. What about you?
Have you talked to David?
I did talk to him twice yesterday.
And what did he have to say?
Listen, listen, there's a lot of jobs out there. The ambassador to Israel is not the only job involving Israel and Jews. So Friedman is not going to shoot himself in the foot and say, oh, what are you kidding me? Because then he's out. Trump doesn't like that. So he's waiting to see what's next. So everything he said was very nice. I love Mike. Congratulations to Mike. He said, quote, Mike has the best job ever. So he says that's the best job ever. You know how much he loved that job. But again, there's too many positions, way too many, still out there for somebody to come out and say, like Tulsi Gabbard, for example. Tulsi was on this show yesterday. A lot of people thought Tulsi Gabbard had a good shot at Secretary of State. That went to Mark Rubio. So I said yesterday, what about Secretary of Defense? Right? She's a veteran, war hero, served in the Middle East and Africa. Makes sense. It goes to Pete Hegseth. But she also can't come out today and get crazy because there's going to be a position for her somewhere in this cabinet. And when somebody mouths off Donald Trump, he's going to X you off the list. Trust me.
Yeah, but with her, she wants something obviously high level. So I'm trying to think what's left to give her.
There's still some high level stuff. I have to get a list of all the different positions, but there's still plenty of high level stuff available. And I still, don't forget RFK Jr. He's got nothing. I don't know who else. I know that the guy Brandon Williams, he just ran for Congress, I believe, as a Republican here in New York. And I'm hearing that he's got the inside track at Labor Secretary. And then I got a call from my dear buddy Bo Dietl yesterday, and he told me that Stevie Witkoff, who Trump loves, is going to be the special envoy to the Middle East. And as I mentioned earlier, Mediate is saying as of late yesterday that they believe Alina Habba has the inside track on White House press secretary.
Now, with Pete Hegseth, the Fox correspondent, getting the big gig that he's getting, did you start to think, well, wait a minute, I'm a media personality. What gig am I getting?
That would be really self-centered.
Yeah, that would be.
And really
That's
arrogant.
crazy, Noem. What are you thinking, Noem? I mean, do you think Sid really focused in on that?
Right.
I mean,
it's funny you say that. So some dip shizzle puts on Instagram this morning. So some listener, I don't know, I don't care. And goes, I'm going to tune in this morning, but lately, Sid, all he does is brag about himself. So I find myself listening to more and more sports. So I write back to the guy, I go, do me a favor, please.
I love these answers. These are my favorite part.
I want you to listen to sports all day. Just lather yourself in sports. I am so tired of all these pussies. They don't like the fact that I'm a braggadocious guy. Listen, if you can back it up, you can do it. That's the bottom line. When you're getting the ratings I'm getting in this market, you can do it. And I ask the same question every single time. The same folks that are on my back for being narcissistic, they love that word, these idiots, and arrogant, they vote for Trump. There's never been a human being in the history, no one loves Trump more than me. There's never been a human being in the history of the world that's more narcissistic than Trump. They're also Imus fans. That man, if you didn't call him I-Man, and you called him Don, God forbid, he'd shoot you. So I don't care. You're liars. You love people with big egos. You love that. That's why you vote for Trump. That's why you listen for years to Imus and Stern and all these guys. Maybe it's because I'm Jewish. Maybe you just don't like me. I don't know what it is. I don't care. You're not threatening me. The management here doesn't care. I'm getting 6 5s. So do me a favor. If you're annoyed, go away. Go listen to Boomer and Geo. Jerk yourself off. Have a great time. Right now they're talking about mommy. There you go. Right now they're talking about the Knicks beating the 76ers. Have yourself a great time. They're talking about Daniel Jones getting benched by the Giants. Go have yourself a great time. It doesn't bother me. What are you, nuts? Some random insignificant jackass? That's going to bother me? Do I seem bothered?
A little.
This is why I can't try to.
Probably about 15 minutes worth. I don't. 15% of you is bothered, I think. I don't know. Right.
No, it just makes me laugh. I don't know. These people, I care. He's a narcissist. Of course I am. And it's going to get worse because guess what's happened? Every day the show gets more popular. I'm putting stations and radio shows out of business. I am. Me. Well, my crew too, obviously. Lou and what is your name? Noem?
Noem Layden.
You need to be more narcissistic, Noem. That's your problem.
But the answer to your question, so I went off on a bit of a tangent there. The answer is yes. Of course I thought about that. But there's a portion of the Trump team that I make nervous, so because I cursed at Madison Square Garden, I guess. I don't even know that's true. I'm just assuming that because, like when Tulsi comes on yesterday and says, well, they got to make it R-rated if you're the press secretary. I can't imagine she's the only person that said that. New Yorkers don't care. We talk like that. We don't care. But other people around the country, they were a little shocked, So I don't know what the Trump team is saying down in South Florida, but I've got a job. I don't need a job. I don't want a job. I do want some type of ceremonial, some type of, if I could be on some advisory board, which I will be, or some committee, that's great. I'll take it. There's no job for Sid Rosenberg. This is my job. I've got the greatest job in the world. Sorry, Mike Huckabee and David Friedman. I've got the greatest job in the world. I get to work with Lou, Noem, and Justin Ellick, and Curtis Sliwa, and Joe Nolan every day.
So take that.
Yeah, take that.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, Hegseth.
Sure.
So we'll talk to Kilmeade. He works with Pete Hegseth.
Think you're living the life, huh?
Right. I got news for you. It's all right here. So, huge guest list coming your way. Brian Kilmeade this hour. Curtis Sliwa, and making his first appearance since his loss last Tuesday, former Congressman Anthony D'Esposito in the 7 o'clock hour. Tom Homan and Peter King in the 8 o'clock hour. Scott LoBaido and Corey Zelnik in the 9 o'clock hour. It's a huge show. Sid and Friends in the morning on a hump day, Tunnel to Towers, Wednesday. And I'll be back right after this.
There's too many people making too many problems, and not much love to go around. Can't you see this is a land of confusion? Now this is the world we live in, and these are the hands we give up. You never let's stop trying to make it a place worth fighting for. This is the world we live in, and these are the names we give up. Stand up and let's start showing just where our lives are going to.
These are stupid people.
WABC Traffic and Transit.
From the RayKatina.com traffic desk, if you're on the Van Wyck southbound Liberty Avenue, there was a stall there earlier in the center lane. They've got that out of the way. All lanes have been reopened southbound on the Van Wyck again from that earlier accident. Now, if you're eastbound on the Jackie Robinson at Cypress Hills, there's a crash there. That continues. On the westbound side of the Cross Bronx Expressway, we're still pretty much bumper to bumper. From the Bruckner interchange all the way on over to the George Washington Bridge, there was an earlier accident there. That has now been cleared over in New Jersey. Southbound 1 and 9, right around Elmore Avenue, the old Bayway traffic circle, an accident. 2 lanes are out. Then over on the Parkway southbound at 137, a left lane collision. That's causing delays on the northbound side. And again, Amtrak no service New York to New Haven. That because of a brush fire along the way. Alternate side is in effect. If you're looking for a luxury SUV, it doesn't get better than a Range Rover Defender or Discovery from Land Rover Edison and Land Rover Marlboro. With an excellent selection to choose from, schedule a test drive today at Land Rover Edison, Land Rover Marlboro, Ray Katina dealerships. I'm Joe Nolan with traffic.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
On November 13th, Felix Unger was asked to remove himself from his place of residence. That request came from his wife. Deep down, he knew she was right, but he also knew that someday he would return to her. With nowhere else to go, he appeared at the home of his friend Oscar Madison. Several years earlier, Madison's wife had thrown him out, requesting that he never return. Can 2 divorced men share an apartment without driving each other crazy?
So the beauty of that is, if you're not paying attention and you weren't a big Odd Couple fan, if you listen to the very beginning, it says on November 13th, well, today happens to be November the 13th. And there's a lot of really strange people out there. A lot of folks who love stuff when they were kids and never give it up. Let me give you an example. There's a guy that runs the board right now for Boomer and Geo over at WFAN. But for a while, he served as my producer when I was hosting the midday show alongside Jody McDonald at WFAN. And his name is Eddie Scazzeri. And he's a big Dolphin fan. He would always wear his Dan Marino jerseys. I almost would kill him. He's a very, very sweet guy. He loves Sister Golden Hair by America. He loves that song.
Yes. He likes a lot of old 70s.
Loves the 70s music.
Ridiculous songs.
Smoked for years and lied to his wife. And bled every day in the newsroom because he's a diabetic. And he was very sloppy with taking his numbers. But
he was bad.
He was bad.
He had a pump, too. He had a pump.
Right, had a pump. So he loved Star Trek. So he's an adult, just, he's a grown man. And he would put on, like ears and stuff. What was the name of that guy?
Mr. Spock.
Mr. Spock,
What
yeah.
was the name of that guy?
He would actually dress as a Star Trek person. This is a grown man, an adult.
We had an FAN basketball team, and he called it, I think he came up with the name, the Kobayashi Maroon.
That is true. That was right before I got there.
Right, which was from Star Trek. It was like a military game that they played in Star Trek to train the soldiers. It was like, you should have seen Joe Benigno trying to say the name.
He can't figure it out, no.
Are you on this team, the Kobayashi Mob? What is this?
Well, he was on my team, too. But you're right. Before me, he did all that. So, and then they have like thousands of people, grown people, that show up at these conventions every year. They dress as Spock, and like Morano's idiotic like that. He thinks Bill Shatner's a great actor. That's all you need to know. I mean, please. So,
Frank, thank you for much having me on again.
So the Odd Couple has the same type of loyal fan. A lot of those shows did back then. You had Star Trek. You had The Odd Couple.
All in the Family.
Yeah, but I don't think people don't walk around like Archie Bunker.
I know.
Making fun of Jews and Polacks and blacks. But the Odd Couple thing is a big deal. So, for example, this morning when you had it up, Lewis, Rich Eisen, who had ESPN fame, used to call it the Beningo, ironically, overnights on ESPN, and has now been the face from day one of the NFL Network. He is a huge Odd Couple fan.
Yes. There's a whole big following, and today they call it Odd Couple Day.
November 13th.
Yeah. They will say Happy Odd Couple Day.
I mean, look, I did, crazy people. I did watch it over the years occasionally. The guy that played Felix,
Tony Randall.
Yeah, that's not his real name. So my father, God rest Harvey's soul, had one brother, and his name was Larry. He was Uncle Larry. And, of course, my name is Rosenberg. So my Uncle Larry was also my godfather, and he was a complete scumbag. I don't think I got one gift in all these years, and it got to the point where my dad and his brother Larry didn't talk. But his name, my uncle, Larry Rosenberg, he may be alive. I don't even know if he's alive or dead. I don't care. But that was Tony Randall's real name, Larry Rosenberg. Not Tony Randall.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
I never heard that either.
Well, you also know that, for example, what's his name? Tony Curtis is a Jewish guy.
Right.
His name is like Lifshitz or something.
Okay, well, that I've heard.
Yeah, but Tony Randall, I am 99% sure you can fact check this. I think his real name is Larry Rosenberg, which is my uncle and my godfather, and he's no good. Bad guy. So,
okay.
Look that up. Anyway, it is Odd Couple Day. We want the Flory Dories. Don't forget the great Al Molinaro from Happy Days.
Yes.
Had a big role in the Odd Couple. He played the cop.
He was Murray the Cop.
Murray the Cop, yes.
Leonard Rosenberg.
Oh, Leonard, not Larry, so I'm wrong. Okay. I thought it was Larry.
Yeah, born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay.
How many Rosenbergs are born in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
That's crazy.
My God. So he is a Rosenberg. I said Larry. He's Leonard. He's close.
Yeah.
Did you watch The Odd Couple, Noem?
Oh, yeah. My mom was a huge fan, so we used to watch the reruns, which were really, it was a funny show.
There is really funny episodes because they have different jobs. He's a photographer, and Jack Klugman was the sports
writer. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
One time he had to be the theater critic because the theater,
like Michael Riedel.
Well, he had to be a theater. Yeah, he had to go to the theater because the actual theater critic got sick or fired or something, and he had no idea about the theater. So he would send Felix to the theater, and then he would just write down what Felix would tell him, and then he would put it in his column.
That's great.
And he took credit for it.
Oh, that's great.
Then he had to go on a panel with other theater critics.
Oh, no.
And these were real critics, too. John Simon, and I think, I forgot who the moderator was.
Joan Hamburg.
But so that he knew what he would be talking about, he brought Felix on the panel with him.
Yeah.
as his dentist.
As like Alan Snippen.
Right, as his dentist, and Jack Klugman, like, portrayed like he couldn't speak because he was under anesthesia or something. So Tony Randall did the, fighting with the other critics, and he insulted all of them. They all left because Tony Randall was so nasty to them.
It's great.
Oh, it was just hilarious. The show was very
great.
brilliant.
No, it was brilliant.
Penny Marshall was great on that show.
Oh, yes, she was.
Yeah.
She went on to become, of course, the great Laverne. He went on after that, Klugman, and he did the show about the, not Marcus Welby, Quincy
MD, I think.
Yeah, Quincy, he played the, what do you call that?
Coroner?
The coroner, very good. Yeah, there you go. So, November 13th, ladies and gentlemen, great job here by Lou Rubino, as he does every day. Happy Odd Couple Day.
It's karaoke out there.
So we're going to talk to Brian Kilmeade coming up next. Of course, he works with Pete Hegseth. He knows Pete very, 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 very well. They're close. And Pete looks like he's now the Secretary of Defense. So we'll talk to Kilmeade about a whole variety of stuff, including all these latest picks by Donald Trump.
This is
Sid on Sports.
Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your bottom of the hour sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, paviliontankless.com. Find a deal under you. They are the world's best built boilers. Start here on the NBA hardwood in Philly. OG Anunoby scored 24 points, and the Knicks spoiled 76er star Joel Embiid's season debut, beating Philadelphia 111-99 in the opener of NBA Cup group play for both teams. Josh Hart added 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists for the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns had 21 points and 13 rebounds, while Jalen Brunson scored 18. It was a balanced scoring that carried the Knicks, who had 6 players in double figures. They started the fourth quarter on a 13-2 run that broke open a 3-point game. New York also recorded 31 assists on 44 field goals.
Anunoby was great last night.
Yes, he was.
Do you realize the Knicks are 5-5, the Nets are 5-6? Mm-hmm. Do you realize the Cleveland Cavaliers are still undefeated?
Really?
They're 12-0.
Wow. Good
and
for them.
their big 3 stars, Mitchell, Garland, and I forget the third one, but they're all playing very, very good ball. They're 12-0, and they're in Philly for the 76ers tonight. That's the best record in the NBA, obviously.
Yeah, right.
The Suns are 9-2. Golden State is 9-2. The Celtics, they have the Nets tonight. They're 9-3.
Yeah.
But the Cleveland Cavaliers, Mobley is their third star, 12-0.
Yeah. And the Sixers, for that matter, can win a game.
Can win a game.
They're 2-8.
Well, Embiid just came back.
Right.
You know, my son was asking me last night, my beautiful boy Gabriel, is Joel Embiid still suspended from going to the Empire State Building? Remember last year during the playoffs when he was playing dirty ball against the Knicks, and they banned him from the Empire State Building? Is that still in place?
Was it ever legitimately in place?
What?
Or was it just something that they posted to
No, it was in place.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure.
So we spoke to somebody at the Empire State Building that said, yes, he is indeed on the no.
Till June of 2026.
Really? Isn't that a coincidence? Taking out the trash. Up next for the Knicks, they'll host the Chicago Bulls tonight at 7:30. As for the Nets, they're back out there tonight at home in Brooklyn, getting set for a 7:30 p.m. tip-off as well against the Boston Celtics. On the ice, you had a triple header last night. The Rangers got doubled up by a score of 6-3 at the hands of the Winnipeg Jets, who have now won 15 of their first 16 games, of 15-1 to start the year. Up next for the Rangers, they'll host the San Jose Sharks tomorrow night. Up in Edmonton, the Islanders got outlasted in overtime by the Oilers. The final score there, a 4-3. Up next for the Isles, they'll visit Vancouver tomorrow night for a matchup against the Canucks. And finally, down in Florida, the Devils were able to tame the Panthers. Timo Meier scored the go-ahead goal late in the second period. Markstrom made 34 stops, and the Devils snapped Florida's 7-game winning streak by beating the Panthers 4-1. Up next, the two teams will meet again tomorrow night. That's sports sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, paviliontankless.com. Find a deal under you. They are the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
77 WABC.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
No, I get by with a little help from my friends.
All right, folks, coming up after me, he does a spectacular job. You know that already. 10 a.m. every weekday right here on Talk Radio 77 WABC. It's Brian Kilmeade, also the star, I believe, no disrespect to Ainsley or Ducey, of Fox and Friends every morning on Fox News, and his own great show, 9 p.m. every Saturday night on Fox News, One Nation. Now, there's a lot to get to here, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on the first one. But it's a local thing, and I got to break your balls just a little. Will you stop with the Eric Adams? I got to give him credit. This guy is in so much trouble. He's become so pathetic in sucking up to President Donald Trump, and he needs a pardon so bad. So one day he says, yeah, let's talk about immigration in sanctuary cities. The next day he says, hey, I still want immigrants to come to this city. I'm not for mass deportation. This guy goes back and forth every day. And if you think he's, quote unquote, going to work with Trump because he cares, you're nuts. He's in trouble. He needs Trump.
Okay, everything you said is true. But I'm just going to challenge you one thing. You remember when he was only there a couple of weeks, he went up to Albany and said, you got to work with me on this no cash bail. And they just told him to go back because he didn't know the political system, or he just thought that people would use logic and say a Democratic black mayor, historic, they were going to work with him because they knew it was a problem. But there's no common sense in Albany. And do you know that he has spoken out about the sanctuary city status before? He wanted the city council to do things. Bloomberg was frustrated with the city council. Giuliani was always frustrated with the city council. So maybe he doesn't go far enough. But he can't totally abandon his party. And like you said, I'm waiting for the second raft of indictments. Most people look at this who are, unbiased and don't think there's a lot there yet to take down a sitting mayor. So if there's another raft and there's other things and you have contacts, I don't, in New York City, Sid. So maybe you know what's coming. And I know Curtis also feels the same way. More's coming. But I don't like being targeted. I don't like people being targeted by the justice system. They were going after Elon Musk, for goodness sakes. I mean, with all his power. So I'm just saying, just factor in, they could be targeting him too.
They could be. There's no question about it. And they probably are, but that doesn't negate the fact that even his meeting up in Albany was pathetic. He's never once come out and blasted Carl Heastie or Andrea Stewart Cousins. He said maybe he doesn't go far enough. That's the understatement of the year. He doesn't go nearly far enough. That's all we want. At least call out names.
And what gets you mad is you see the potential. You got to see him without the cameras, hanging out at dinner, lunch, and you see the potential. That's what I believe frustrates you the most.
There may be some truth to that. There may be some truth. He's incredibly disappointing. He is. Let's get to the big meeting today, though, national. Donald Trump is going to sit with Biden. Your friend Peter Ducey did a great job yesterday with that Mensa, Karine Jean-Pierre, asking her questions about what she thinks this meeting was going to be about. And eventually he said something about Biden and Harris, and she got all upset. Let me ask you, what do you think this Biden-Trump conversation at lunch will be like later on today?
You know what I hope? And I know you love to go to town with me when I say stuff like this. Yeah. I hope they have a cease and desist. I hope he says, listen, I'm going to stop with the personal attacks. I don't think Biden's got too much longer. And you just don't want to be the last one. The last thing you say is something personal and about his cognitive decline. So I would just say, look, we know what we said about each other. And I know how you really feel about me, and you probably know how I feel about you. But let's not rip each other personally. Do the George Bush thing. I'm going to my ranch. I'm not going to say anything anymore. Bill Clinton was really cool with Bush 41 and great with Bush 43 until his wife started running, and I get it. But Biden's out of it. So just do cease and desist. Kamala Harris has been humiliated. She's a non-factor. I give Melania great credit for saying, screw you. You raided my house. You went through my drawers. You ransacked the place. And I know you knew this. I'm not coming. Now, I don't have firsthand knowledge of this, but I got secondhand knowledge that she's like, screw you, Joe Biden, the Biden family, and Jill. I love that. But for both leaders, Biden, you notice that he's basically given up. Trump's like running the country right now.
Yeah,
his foreign policy.
Yeah. No, Biden's furious.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about it? Do you think I'm right, or you think they're just going to keep ripping each other?
No, I think you're right. I mean, look, Biden, I think at this point actually dislikes the people in his own party, including his vice president, Obama, and the rest of them more than Trump. So there are two things at play here. One, he's on his way out. Two, between him and the VP, it was an incredibly embarrassing couple of months. And three, I think he's got more disdain for his own party than Donald Trump. But let's get to Trump's picks here, because this is what folks are talking about every day. And the big one this morning is a colleague of yours, a guy that I know. I like him a lot, but you know him a lot better than I do. Pete Hegseth. Now, yesterday, I had Tulsi Gabbard on this show, and I brought up Secretary of Defense, and she said, look, I can't tell you the talks I'm in with Trump, those details. I wouldn't do that. But I really thought Gabbard had a great shot at Secretary of Defense. It turns out it's your colleague, Pete Hegseth. Folks are going, what? TV guy? Secretary of Defense? Makes sense of all this for me, Brian, please.
Yeah, I'll give you an idea. Now, number one, extremely smart. I just did a big shoot with him for the Patriot Awards. I really wasted my Saturday, but that's a little selfish. But a couple of things. If you look at Harvard and Princeton, by the way, he actually earned his way in there, played basketball, and then he signs up for the military, still serving up until a couple of years ago. He was thinking about going Special Forces and leaving Fox a couple of years ago after doing a shoot. And then you realize he just wrote a book, spent 2.5 years studying the Pentagon, and wrote that book. He did all the studying, worked with some experts about the whole woke culture in there. And I'm sure he talks to Trump regularly. They're really good friends. He doesn't trumpet that relationship, but they're really good friends. And I could see him going in there. You get a good chief of staff, and actually a guy that signed up for the infantry out of Harvard. I mean, think about this. He could do anything. He goes, no, like Tom Cotton, give me a gun. So you don't have to tell him about Afghanistan, Gitmo, or Iraq. He's been there. And then he goes to Israel 7 times and does features. Sid, no one loves Israel more than you. Huckabee second. And I put Pete a close third. So, I mean, really understands the history of the region. That you got huge pro-Israel people now in the most powerful spots. I think the other stuff, the logistics, the chief of staff, I mean, I heard, too, with Mattis. Mattis didn't even know how to work the levers of power in the Pentagon. His chief of staff did everything, and then he briefly became the Secretary of Defense. So you put the right people around him who know the mechanics of it, and now all of a sudden the woke culture, white supremacy, white privilege, all that stuff is going to go out immediately. And I like that Trump is also looking into and evaluating admirals and generals. Are you out there trying to win races for Democrats? Are we trying to win wars? So, and stop ripping me, General Milley, General Kelly, General Mattis. So we're going to evaluate you. So that was something that was announced yesterday as well. So, look, he's only got 4 years. He doesn't want to waste any time. Pete is indefatigable. He's got 6 kids. He just moved to Tennessee. He is, he has a divorce situation, so he's not rolling in money. This is pure service. Pure service. There's no ego. This is what was meant to be by the founding fathers. He's given up a huge contract here. And, he's really looked up to. He fills in everywhere for a reason. There's nothing he can't do. And I'm really anxious to see him in that spot.
You mentioned the love for Israel. You had me second, which was pretty cool. Thank you. And you had me first. I'm sorry. Mike Huckabee second. Yes, thank you. And a lot of folks, including me, were surprised when Trump did not pick David Friedman again to be his Israel ambassador. What did Friedman do? He helped with the Abraham Accords. He's very, very close with both Herzog and Bibi. He's Jewish. Not so canny guy like you. I love David Friedman. Now, I know what Huckabee brings, and maybe the fact that Huckabee is not Jewish actually makes sense for this job, but I was surprised he did not bring back David Friedman. Were you?
Yeah. But Friedman, I mean, look, he's not done. He's got 1,000 people to name directly and 4,000 overall. So that's the same thing. Everyone going crazy on the VP pick. I'm like, guys, calm down. Rubio could have a major spot. Burgum could have a major spot. Tom Cotton, if he wanted it, could have had anything. In a couple of years, he'll be running for president. And we'll be in great, shake. So there's some great positions left. And, advising him. And again, this first phase, some people can only do it for 18 months. And then they come back. It's a dangerous job, man. So, Huckabee's going to be he's not only does he understand Trump, he understands Israel. And I think he can also be a fantastic spokesperson in country.
Yeah. No, he is.
So,
And
I mean, David Friedman's fantastic, too.
No, they're both great, and Mike certainly represents the Judeo-Christian values.
Here's the good news for you, Sid.
Yes?
Relaxium needs a spokesperson.
I know, I saw that.
You might be the perfect guy.
Well, I was hoping to split the week with Alina Habba after she becomes the press secretary. But one more pick that has a lot of people scratching their heads, and that is Kristi Noem, DHS secretary. I mean, Brian, you know this. 265,000 people this lady's going to be in charge of, from the Coast Guard to the Secret Service to FEMA to all that border stuff. And last we heard of her, she shot the dog. Now, I know she's pretty and Trump likes pretty women, but Kristi Noem, DHS secretary, that one also has a lot of folks scratching their head.
I thought she was going to be interior because, I know how much the environment, grows up on a ranch, works with Mount Rushmore. He's, fighting all the time with Obama and Biden, this whole thing with the fireworks. So I thought she was going to be perfect for that. So then this is what I think happens. You bring in Elon Musk with you and say, help me with this agency, and I got to get this more efficient because it's almost impossible to run. So I think she's going to have her hands full. She's got to staff up. No doubt about it. She's got to staff up, and there's a lot of pressure on it. But the one thing is good. Tom Homan can work with her. Tom Homan's got more power than anybody. So we're going to focus on the border. Homan's going to be in charge. That's going to be one thing that Kristi Noem is not really going to have to worry about. She'll have to testify about, but she won't have to worry about. And the Secret Service, I think, has got to be spun off. And I hope they get someone good. One of his agents, one of Trump's agents, reportedly is going to take over the Secret Service. That would be great. I would love Bongino to do it, but I'm sure he can't do it right now. I mean, he's running an empire over there. So, there's a lot. And look, let's see what happens. If she can't do it, we're going to know right away. And Trump's going to get rid of her. Trump gets rid of everyone, friends and foes alike. You're not doing the job. But I would bring Elon Musk and say, Elon, take a look at this unwieldy agency that Joe Lieberman recommended, that George Bush put into power, and it's a Frankenstein situation. It's never really been run right. Help. And hopefully you will.
By the way, Tom Homan set to join me this morning coming up at 8:25. As always, Brian Kilmeade, fantastic, not good, fantastic appearance. Quickly, anything popping up on One Nation? I know it's 3 days away that you know about already midweek.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I got up to some meetings, but I know Jim Jordan's in. I know Carly Shimkus is in. She's going to look over the media stuff this week. But I'm going to try to build this out. I mean, Mike Waltz is a good friend. If he's not all over the place, I'm going to look for him. Try to get some of these new cabinet members on. But most of all, I'm going to look also at the waste of money of Kamala Harris and what she had to pay Oprah and Al Sharpton in order to get an endorsement. Are you insane? I'm going to look at the waste of $1 billion and the implosion of the Democrats. And that soap opera is getting as ugly as can be.
It really is.
I want to hear I want to read every line and every verse.
MSNBC's ratings in the dumper, and CNN now ready to fire 100 or 1,000 more people. I mean, they're in big trouble. Kilmeade, I love you. This was fantastic. We'll all be watching you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. It's my man, Brian Kilmeade.
Stay with it. Now, what do you have to do, Sid?
Well, besides hopefully getting the weekend gig for the White House press secretary, I need to stay within myself. How about that?
That's all I ask. That's all I ask. See you later.
See you, Brian. There he is. Brian Kilmeade does a fantastic job after me, 10 a.m. every weekday morning right here on WABC, and a part of two great shows on Fox News, Fox and Friends every weekday morning, and, of course, his own show, 9 p.m. Saturday nights, One Nation. We'll take a short break. A lot more to do today, folks. The great Curtis Sliwa's coming up next. Before it's all said and done, we'll talk to Tom Homan. We'll talk to Peter King. We'll talk to Scott LoBaido. Big Wednesday morning. Sid and Friends in the morning. And I'll be back at the Noem with the news.
Love will find you. Break those chains that bind you. One night will remind you. Oh, we touch the way on sacred ways. If he ever hurts you, true love won't desert you. You know I still love you.
best friend. This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
For my friends. 77 WABC.
How is Andrew Cuomo going to control the far left progressives that control the city council if he couldn't even contain them and keep control of something that was really his own baby, that bail reform? He took ownership of that. So how is he going to work with and control the city council, crazy as they are, if he couldn't control the New York State legislature when it came to bail reform?
I think that's a very important question, and the answer is who knows, because they're uncontrollable.
That's our good friend, Victims' Rights New York, Jennifer Harrison, with Hank Scheinkopf. Her weekly podcast, Harrison Hits Back, which she does from the great state of Florida, is doing very, very well. We love Jen Harrison. I know Curtis does. She's part of that trio, her, Janice Dean, and Tracy Albino out on Long Island. That'll make life easy for Andrew Cuomo. And who knows, maybe Curtis Sliwa will not make life easy if, in fact, it comes down to Sliwa versus Cuomo for mayor, although Eric Adams is looking to move his trial date so he can concentrate on running again, which I find hilarious. Curtis is the best. He's got his Rip and Read noon to 1 every weekday afternoon. He does very, very well overnight weekends and does a spectacular job sitting next to me. So you're looking to make life miserable for both Cuomo and Adams. So I know you listen to every second of the show. I had Brian Kilmeade on. I don't want you killing Brian because he's a good friend. But for some reason, and right off the top of our interview 30 minutes ago, I hammered him. For some reason, Kilmeade and others rush to the defense of Adams. They go, listen, at least he called out Biden. At least he went to Albany.
Brian, do us a solid. Stay in your own lane. You dabble in local policy. He dabbles, and he knows enough to have a good conversation. But he's repeating the talking points of Trumpers because Donald Trump is embracing Eric Adams. I told you first here on WABC, they talk every day. They're like yentas on the phone. And Eric Adams will soon be wearing a Make America Great hat again, a MAGA hat.
Come on.
And because you pointed it out, he needs Trump desperately, the pardon, the commutation, and maybe even to make the charges go away. He has his lips sealed on the tuchus of Donald Trump. Remember, he used to be a Republican. He supported Rudy Giuliani for mayor against David Dinkins, his hero, his mentor. This guy is a chameleon.
Oh, sure he is. And he may be a Republican again. He may, in fact, primary you. He may. And, this thing where he comes out and goes, hey, I want to work with Trump, sanctuary cities, I've gone to court.
Yeah.
One day he says, let me say this, I'm good with the immigrants coming to New York. So he hasn't learned his lesson. Today, he's yelling and screaming, no mass deportation. But 2 days ago, he's saying, I would work with Trump on the immigration problem. Which one is it?
Tom Homan will be sitting there in City Hall saying, we're the best of pals, right? Anything you say, Tom. Hey, say nice things to the president about me. I'll wear the MAGA hat. I'll do whatever you need. And by the way,
I got bad news for Eric Adams. Tom Homan will be on this show.
Good.
The new borders are in an hour. And I can guarantee you now, because I'm going to ask him, I can guarantee you now, before I even ask him, Tom Homan is no fan of Mayor Eric Adams.
Yeah, and rightfully so. This is a guy who welcomed in the illegal aliens, gave them everything free, told Abbott, the governor of Texas, you're a racist. Who is the biggest supporter of Abbott, governor of Texas? Donald Trump. So when you call Abbott a racist, you're calling Donald Trump a racist.
So it makes no sense. So you're right. Here he was, and he's still saying it. He's still saying, we want you. 5-star hotels, cash,
kickbacks on the contracts. Remember, the kickbacks on the contracts have never stopped. Now, Brian Kilmeade says, well, when he went up to Albany, as you pointed out, he really didn't know the system there. Didn't know the system. Brian Kilmeade, this is what he said between 2006 and 2013 when he was a state senator in Albany.
Show me the money. Show me the money. That's what it's all about.
So you see, he doesn't know that, Brian Kilmeade. I got to become his consigliere when it comes to local politics to keep him out of harm's way.
He likes you, and he's endorsed you for mayor.
Yeah,
he readily admits you'd be the best choice, but for some reason he has to defend Adams.
Hold on a second. I was watching the podcast, Suzanne Miller, the real estate gal, and he endorsed John Catsimatidis or Michael Bloomberg. We got to straighten him out. You can't endorse three different people, Brian Kilmeade.
Well, Catsimatidis pays him. So right off the bat, you got to understand that one. Not that he doesn't respect John. Of course he does. Bloomberg, I don't know where that comes from. I mean, Bloomberg had a successful stint.
But still. This is like, what am I, his gumada?
I guess. I don't know.
Hey, would you pin him that? Is Curtis your gumada?
I mean, I guess so. But on a much lighter note, Curtis.
Yes.
You heard earlier this morning, great job by Lou Rufino. Rich Eisen and a lot of folks around America today are celebrating Odd Couple Day. Right there, the very beginning of the opening theme from the song, they talk about November the 13th, and today happens to be November the 13th.
Ah, Mr. Rosenberg, you were absolutely correct. Born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Who am I talking about? Tony Randall, Felix Unger, the photographer. And I always thought this guy was gay. I mean,
so did I.
The prototypical gay guy, right?
Yeah, not even close.
Neat freak, the whole 9 yards.
Not even close.
Not only was he married to his high school sweetheart, but eventually when she passed away, they were together almost forever. At 75, he married a 25-year-old woman, Heather Harlan. Guess who married them? Rudy Giuliani. And they had two kids. The natural way. No IV.
The oldest people I know in Hollywood to have kids are him and Anthony Quinn. I think the former great Greek actor Anthony Quinn had a kid at like 80. But yeah, he was still having kids, Randall/Rosenberg, in his 70s.
Now, he was the one Jew there, and the other Jew was Jack Klugman, his real name, Oscar Madison, who, when he went to college, his drama coach said, hey, let me tell you, you're not suited to be an actor. You're suited to be a truck driver. Yes, 12 Angry Men, the movie, The Twilight Zone, all those great episodes, and then The Odd Couple. So, you're going to go to your drama coach? Right? I mean, think about this. One of the greatest sit-down comedies of all time. Perfectly matched. And let me tell you something. When I think of him as Rosenberg, I think of you because... Look, you're Natalie attired. Tony Randall, Natalie attired, right?
Yes.
You're a neat freak.
Yes.
You're a neat freak. You shower like, what, 3-4 times a day?
Every time I go to the bathroom, I shower.
Right. With Danielle, without Danielle. I mean, you're constantly in the shower. So, by the way.
I was the only one who used that nasty shower that you used back in the old place at Madison Square Garden.
Exactly. You were in there all the time, pleasurizing yourself. Don't kid me. When a guy is always in the shower stall, you know he's pleasurizing himself.
Oh, my God.
But now... this is going to be the litmus test for all talk show hosts.
Okay, here we go.
I'm telling you, talk radio is going to become boring now that Trump is president, because it's always best when you have a heel, an adversary. Yeah. Biden, it sucks. Harris, Mayorkas, nonstop, 24/7. Now what are they going to say about all the appointees of Donald Trump? And maybe the most important position, he struck out swinging. He promotes the governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, the Barbie doll of all elected officials, right? Who, if you wanted to appoint her, remember you heard Trey Gowdy talking to Nora Ingram, Interior, that's where she was born and raised, on a ranch. You put her in charge of the most important agency, and then when they're listing all the different responsibilities, right? There's the TSA, okay. There's Secret Service, which needs to be just completely reformed. There is Customs. There is Border Control. And the one thing they left out.
Coast Guard also, don't forget.
Coast Guard. They left out ICE.
They did leave out ICE.
They didn't even talk about ICE. You're going to put this woman in charge of this agency with so many dimensions. And I claim this came about because of the Billy Martin in the life of President Donald Trump. His name, Corey Lewandowski. He comes, he goes. He comes, he goes.
He's still there, I think, Corey.
Well, special advisor during the campaign.
Yes.
But remember, they kicked him out twice.
Right.
The guy's libido is like a Kennedy. He's nonstop. He's out of control when it comes to that.
Well, to his credit, he actually was with, I think most people would agree, the two hottest Trump ladies the first time around, with both the lady you're about to mention, Kristi Noem, and Hope Hicks. Corey Lewandowski had them both.
Yep, and Kristi Noem was married. They were canoodling in hotel lobbies there. It's well known, swap and spit. But Corey Lewandowski is a lobbyist. Now, there are a lot of contracts in the Department of Homeland Services. A lot of contracts. Who do you think is going to have the inside track when all those contracts are given out? And I don't want to hear Elon Musk and Vivek or whatever the hell his name are going to look at these contracts. Nobody's going to get in between Kristi Noem and her lobbyist friend, Corey Lewandowski. And you hear it first from Curtis. Now, let's do the litmus test. Greg Kelly, right? First, give me Kristi Noem when she shot her dog. Kristi Noem when she shot her dog.
When I got back into my truck, Cricket was sitting in the passenger seat, looking like she had just won the lottery. The picture of pure joy. I hated that dog.
And then she went out and shot.
I hated that dog. Shot it.
That's her own voice in her own autobiography. Shot the dog multiple times, went back to the pickup truck, reloaded an AK-47, came back and shot her again. Now,
and just so you know, before you get to the other folks, I remember when Michael Vick got arrested for the dog fighting. And Vick's excuse was, listen, where I grew up in that part of Florida, dog fighting was a daily thing. It was no big deal. According to Noem, when she shot the dog in South Dakota, that's what they do. That's part of their life. They shoot the dog.
Yeah, and you go back and you reload and you shoot it some more. Then, right after that, Greg Kelly, a real hero because he served in the United States Marine Corps air flight in the no-fly zone over Iraq. He knows the deal. This is what Greg Kelly said soon after.
Governor Noem, and she was on Hannity the other night, and she's trying to say this is a fake news plot. I don't think so, Kristi. I think you're a little bit nuts. I think you are just you're a real piece of work, and it all went to your head or whatever.
So now what's he going to say today? Yesterday I had to do an hour.
Let me ask you this, because Judge Janine Pirro on my show went nuts on her, too. Can it be, Curtis, can she be a bit nuts, like Greg Kelly just said? And, of course, he's right. But if she's a bit nuts, does that mean she can't be a good DHS secretary? Why can't she be both?
In charge of U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, ICE, FEMA, U.S. Secret Service, TSA. Are you out of your mind? You put him in Interior. Let me tell you, when Ronald Reagan was president, he appointed James Watt, who then said, God is going to return. I don't know if Mike Huckabee believes in this because he believes in rapture, the end of the world. And as an evangelical, he loves Jews. But, at the end of the world, the Jews got to convert or that's it. They're dead. Off with their heads. But anyway, back to James Watt. He said, we must chop down every tree in our forests because that's the only way Christ will return. This guy was appointed by Ronald Reagan. And then he banned the Beach Boys from performing on the National Mall because he said that they promoted drug use, alcoholism, and they were the wrong element. And you know who he chose instead? Wayne Newton.
No.
Shane. Yes.
Wayne Newton's a mess.
But that's why you leave the Interior, the Secretary of Interior, to people like Kristi Noem. You don't put them in charge of Homeland Security. Now, if you're a purist, you call out the president. How many here at WABC will do that?
Call out President Trump?
Yeah. And say this was the worst possible choice.
Frank Morano, he would do it. Anthony Weiner, he would do it.
This is why talk radio is going to take a dive. This is why.
It's funny because I put up a picture yesterday of me and David Friedman. I'm very, very, very close with David Friedman. And
you're like Cain and Abel.
Yes. I thought he did a spectacular job.
Should have been the U.S. ambassador, but what you failed to factor in, Israel's economy is hurting. They need the evangelicals coming over. They will come over by the plane load knowing they're going to meet one of their own, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee.
That's a good argument, and a lot of folks have been saying that for the last 2 days, a non-Jew and an evangelical will help. But Friedman did nothing wrong. He should have been awarded the same. Anyway, so I put a picture up of Friedman, and I got a bunch of texts from serious, to your point, Trump loyalists. I'm not going to say who they are. And they said, Trump loves you. There's going to be something for you down the road here.
Here it goes.
Yeah. They're like, why don't you place your trust in Trump? So I took the picture down. It was up for like 6 hours. No, I caved.
So what you do?
I caved.
You chopped off your 3-piece set and stuffed it in your mouth.
100%.
You see,
I want a position.
You know how long you would last one weekend as the press secretary? Scaramucci, that Schifosa, that
God,
lasted 10 days. You would last 10 minutes. And it's not because Lou Rufino's not there with the dump button, which he is, the old Imus dump button for you. It's because you will say something that Trump will watch and say, that's it, off with his head. He's out of here. You're either loyal to Trump or you're an outliner. And now, everybody in talk radio, this is your litmus test, because I'm already listening to this love affair, and it's boring me. I'm listening to more of my electronic dance music. I'm listening to more of sports, because you know how to handle it when you got a heel, like Biden and Harris and Mayorkas, evil, Satan, Lucifer. But now when you get a choice like Kristi Noem, the Barbie doll, that makes no sense, you can't even criticize him because you're afraid. What will the Trumpers, what will Donald Trump think? Be a free agent. Be a man or a woman. I'm going to be listening to Greg Kelly today upon his return, 1 o'clock. What is he going to say? And Janine Pirro, you better not buck and fold and all of a sudden say, oh, Kristi Noem, I rethought my position. Give her a chance. Give her a chance. Are you crazy? It's Homeland Security that protects us from the terrorists who are going to try to destroy America and fulfill the fatwa of the Ayatollahs to kill Donald Trump and destroy the big Satan America, and along with it, the little Satan Israel. And you're hearing it from me, Curtis Sliwa, because I fear no man, no woman, and I tell you like it is.
Still the memory stays for always. My heart says, Dr. Shane, Dr. Shane.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
Cranberry, 7:45 on your hump day Wednesday morning. So you know, with Marco Rubio about to become Donald Trump's Secretary of State, what that means, Noam Laden, is that there's now a Senate position that needs to be filled in the state of Florida. And the governor, Ron DeSantis, will have to do that. And I don't know if you know this, but I do, that a lot of Republican senators have recommended, suggested the replacement, and they want this badly, the replacement for Rubio in the state of Florida is my dear, dear friend. She's on this show all the time, Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
She is getting a lot, and I mean a lot, of people stepping up and saying, have Lara replace Rubio.
That makes sense. Look what she did with the RNC. She
did great.
They won in huge numbers with this race, and she was really so intimately involved with it all. That makes sense to me.
It does, but she's got two little kids, Luke and Caroline, and she's always saying, you know, we had some private conversations when she first took the job, and she was struggling with it because she's Eric's wife. She's Luke and Caroline's mother. It's not just politics all the time. Now you become a senator in the state of Florida. Now you're really busy with politics every day.
But let him be a stay-at-home dad.
I guess Eric would have to be, yes. Give up the multi-billion-dollar businesses and just stay home. Sophia wearing her MAGA red today. All right, MAGA red. Nicely done, Perez. Let me get to this before we bring on Congressman Anthony D'Esposito, making his first appearance since his loss last Tuesday, which still has me heartbroken.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
Is this Rat?
Rat!
I used to love these guys. Rat.
It's the way you love it.
You know, it's a big football weekend coming up, folks. Week 11. Is that right? Tomorrow night? Or is it week 12 already?
Week 11.
12.
Week 11.
Is it week 11?
Week 11.
All right, starts tomorrow night. Big matchup. The red-hot Philadelphia Eagles, Alex team, taking on the Washington Commanders. Those are the two best teams atop the NFC East. The Cowboys and the Giants both stink. That's a big one. Jalen Hurts versus Jaden Daniels. But the game of the week is Sunday afternoon in the 4:25 window.
That's a blockbuster.
That features the undefeated two-time reigning Super Bowl champion 9-0 Kansas City Chiefs taking on the 8-2 Buffalo Bills. But the big story about the Chiefs is, and Fox News is covering it right now, they've been covering for about 5 minutes already, is that last month, on two separate occasions, once after the Chiefs-Saints Monday night game, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce's homes were both burglarized.
Really?
Last month in Kansas City, thieves broke into the homes of Mahomes and Kelce. Different nights. They stole $20,000 cash from Kelce. But yeah.
Huh.
How about that?
I smell an inside job here.
Yes, right? I mean, where's that Kadarius Toney guy?
Where was Andy Reid on the night of the burglar?
I think Reid is okay.
Yeah,
but,
maybe.
So last Tuesday was a great day for America, great day for New York. President Trump getting the win, and a lot of my friends won. Mike Lawler, I love Mike, Nick LaLota, Nicole Maliotakis. But I suffered some losses. I was very upset to see Mark Molinaro lose. I was very upset to see Allison Esposito lose. But the one that really broke my heart, because he's not good. He's a great congressman. And to be honest, he's become like a brother to me. We're very, very close. Was Anthony D'Esposito, who lost to Laura Gillen somehow in Nassau County. So I wanted to bring Anthony on last week. But listen, it was early. The wound was still open. So I know he's making his first appearance on my show. Maybe he's been on somebody else's show. I don't know. But I believe he's making his first appearance since Election Day. And that's the former congressman, soon-to-be politician again, Anthony D'Esposito. Tony, is this your first appearance? You've been on before.
First of all, Sid, what other show is there besides yours?
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
No, this is, of course, it's only been a week. I'm back in D.C., and listen, I'm serving the people of the 4th Congressional District until the term is up on January 3rd, and that's what I'll keep doing. You know, it was a tough race. We had, from the jump, we had the odds against us with 70,000 more Democrats in the district than Republicans. You know that they outspent us by millions upon millions of dollars running a campaign of lies and deceit. And, back in 2020, Joe Biden won my seat by 16.5 points. And from the work that we've done in Nassau County, Bruce Blakeman, myself, Chairman Cairo, and many other elected officials really pushing the Republican agenda. I mean, we brought President Trump to even in a district that he lost by 16.5 points. And to me, that is a win for the American people. And for me, listen, this is when one door closes, other doors open. And I believe that there are plenty of opportunities ahead of me to continue serving, whether it's here in Washington, D.C. or back home, there is no question that I'm going nowhere. I will have my feet on the ground, and I will continue working for the people that have learned to know that I'd be there for them.
No, listen, there's no question in my mind either. And I mean that sincerely, whether I'm your friend or not. But here's what I don't get. You won that same district last time, heavily blue. You did a great job in Congress. Not good, great. And then you lose this time. So I got to ask you, those nasty ads that Gillen was running, a lot of that stuff personal, your personal life. At the end of the day, did that work?
No, I don't think so. When we look at the numbers, it really just is. It's the numbers. I mean, the turnout.
But you won last time with the odds against you.
The turnout in a presidential election is much different. The Democrats are able to get many more of their voters out to vote in a presidential election than they do in an off year. And obviously, in 2022, Republicans had a surge because we had a great top of the ticket. We had great candidates, and we had a real crappy Democratic person, running for governor, and the same one that we have now. So that really, when you look at the turnout difference, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of votes more cast in the district in 2024 than there were in 2022. So listen, it was expected to be a very, very tough race, and the silver lining of it all is that, again, we brought Trump to even. We turned Long Island red, and I'm proud to have been a part of that. And like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I know that there are many opportunities for me to keep doing what I love, and the people who have supported me have reached out, and people that I've represented for the last 7 or 8 years in different capacities can't wait to hear what's next. And quite frankly, I'm looking forward to it as well.
I can't wait either. So I know the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, loves you. He doesn't like it. I think of all the Congress people, you're his favorite. I really believe that. And I mean that. And so he's got to be upset. So you do love the job. You'll do something big again. There's no question. But there now, knowing there's only a couple of months to go, is it, hey, man, I'm enthusiastic about the next couple of months. I'm going to work my ass off, get stuff done, and move on? Or is it kind of bittersweet, kind of sad that you did such a great job and you're leaving?
It's sad that you get to you meet a lot of people here, and they become family and friends. I mean, when you're spending 4 days a week from your real family and friends, the people here become family and friends. But like I said to Nick LaLota last night, the people who are my true friends, they're not going anywhere, and same in reverse. So I know that the people who are the real friends, not the ones who just say you are, those are the people that I'll still be hanging out with, still communicate with, and still have a future with in government and politics. And I think, what we also have to focus on, which is really the silver lining of it all, is that Democrats spent so much money in New York. I mean, they spent on my race over $30 million to tarnish me. And again, at no point did they talk about policy or what they wanted to do. But their purpose was to flip the House, and they failed. So if I was sitting at the DCCC right now and looking at all the millions, tens of millions of dollars I spent in New York, I'd be pretty pissed that I spent that all in one of the most expensive media markets in the country and didn't deliver the majority. So, those that, my opponent and Molinaro's opponent, they're going to come to Washington, D.C. in the minority. They probably won't have any legislation passed. They will be unable to deliver funding to their community. So at the end of the day, the sad thing is that the people of the district lose just to boost someone's ego. So listen, we're going to keep fighting. You know what we have in Nassau County and on Long Island. We're going to keep working very hard. Like I said, whether it's an opportunity in the administration or an opportunity back at home, I dusted off. I'm back on the field. Just a couple days after the election, I was back out in the community doing community stops because I was elected to represent them, and I'll represent them right until the end. And I look forward to working over the next couple months in D.C. On the transition. Some of us Republicans are actually meeting with President Trump this morning to talk about the future. So everything looks good. The country is in excellent shape. President Trump is making excellent picks for his cabinet. And listen, we were part in making America, and that is what's most important.
So is the House hour still? Is that official, Tone? Is that official, the House?
Yeah, we should be good. We're waiting on the official calls for some seats in California, but we are there. We're in the majority.
Okay.
So the Democrats will once again not be in the majority in the House. Obviously, they lost the Senate, and President Trump will be in the White House.
You know, you made an interesting comment moments ago, and it didn't just go past me. For folks that don't follow this as closely as I do, Brandon Williams, another Republican that lost. Okay, he lost in his congressional run. But guess what? The rumor is this morning, and it's going to happen, he's going to be the the Secretary of Labor for President Trump. So he loses his congressional race, but Trump gives him a position. You just said, whether it's back home or with the administration. Now, I know I was at the Nassau Coliseum sitting right in between you and Bruce Blakeman when Trump was there, 18,000 large going wild, and he shouted you out a couple of times. Talked about Salt, Anthony. I know he likes you. So do you want to break it right now on this show that Anthony D'Esposito, in all likelihood, without naming your position, will end up in this Trump administration?
Sid, if I had information, I would break it with nobody else but you. But I'll tell you, I don't have any solid information. All I'm saying is that I'm here. I'm willing to serve, and I know that there are going to be opportunities for me to do so, and I just have to see what they are. But I promise you'll be the second or third to know.
Second or third. All right, I'll take it. I do want to talk about a neighbor of yours who's a dear friend of yours and mine, and most recently served as President Trump's ambassador to Israel. And I guess, you know, I just thought all these guys were going to be back. Turns out Mike Pompeo was a backstabber. He's out. Here comes Rubio. Friedman not coming back. Here comes Huckabee. But I posted something on Instagram yesterday. I like Mike Huckabee. In fact, I love him. And I think he'll do a great job. But I was still surprised Friedman didn't have a chance to return. I know you were too. What are your thoughts on the new ambassador to Israel?
Obviously, anybody that is a staunch supporter of Israel and is willing to advance the relations between Israel and America, I will support. There's a lot of work to be done. I just, I think like you, Ambassador Friedman is not only a superb leader, but he's an excellent friend. Obviously, he for a long time called my district home and someone that I speak to regularly. And there was just so much work that was done under the first administration, whether it was moving the embassy, whether it's the Abraham Accords, so much work that I think we both agree that, we thought that Ambassador Friedman needed that second chance to get back there and continue and finish it. But I also believe in President Trump, and I believe that he made the decision, that was best for the country and best for our relationship with the state of Israel. And I'll be here rooting soon to be Ambassador Huckabee on in hopes that we do somehow find some peace in the Middle East and that we continue to make sure that America supports our greatest ally. And lastly, continue to shine a light on those, especially in elected office, who were fighting against us at every corner. Anti-Semites, people full of hate, who want nothing more than to see the destruction of the state of Israel and even worse, the destruction of the United States of America.
So for folks who don't really understand how this works, Trump goes out there, he nominates Huckabee. He nominates Pete Hegseth. That's got people scratching their heads. He nominates Kristi Noem. That's got people going, what? And then he nominates people that are like, okay, Susie Wiles, Marco Rubio, Tom Homan, all that good stuff. So now it's got to be confirmed by the Senate. Explain the whole process. Trump nominates the person, and then what happens?
Then it goes to the Senate to be confirmed. So it will be a bipartisan group of senators who will have the opportunity to question and grill the nominees. And I think the hope that the administration is that the approvals go through quickly, that the Senate convenes and gets through the nominations in an expeditious fashion. I mean, I think what's clear. And obviously from the results on Election Day, we see that not only Republicans, conservatives support the agenda that we have, but there are many Democrats, like we saw in my district. I mean, we saw a substantial amount of Democrats move off the line and support President Trump and I. People want to move America forward. People want to put America first. They realize that we need to secure our border. We need to grow our economy. They realize that we need to start being respected on a foreign scale. And I think that the quicker we can get these nominees confirmed and get them to work so they can establish and start working for the American people, the better. I mean, the first 100 days of this administration are going to be critically important. I know that Speaker Johnson is ready to get to work with the House majority, and we're going to need our cabinet and our nominees in place in order to do that work.
You know, on the way out, I kind of felt badly. It's only been a week, and this may be kind of a dick move for me to ask this, Anthony, but I feel like you and I are like brothers. So I know you're leaving soon, and, you're not going to have that office maybe, but that apartment. But I was just wondering, because Danielle and I are going to the inauguration, and hotels are very expensive. Do you mind if I stay in your apartment in D.C.? You're not going to need it anymore anyway.
You can do whatever you want, just bring your own sheets, all right?
You better keep that apartment. I've been told by almost every Congress member that you got the nicest apartment in D.C., so just keep it.
I wish.
That's not true?
Listen, it's a nice apartment. It's definitely not the nicest in D.C.
I heard Lawler is living in, it's squalor, basically, no?
That's just what he tells his family,
Listen, you will be back. You're a superstar. And everybody loves you. I mean that. I mean, bipartisan. I speak to the Democrats, Republicans, the guys on Nassau County. They're so proud of you. Peter King was so happy you were coming on today. Cairo, they all love you. So I know you had a great run here as a congressman, but I really believe you've got even bigger things ahead. So thank you for coming on this morning. And I want to bring you on often until you are back serving the way you should be. Either way, I'm proud of you. I love you. Thank you very much.
Love you too, brother. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here.
I know you will. There he is, the great Congressman Anthony D'Esposito, here on Sid and Friends in the Morning. We'll take a short break. Still to come this hour, Tom Homan and Peter King. All that coming up after Noem with the news.
Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
I'm pissed every morning I wake up.
Someone's gonna tell you lies, cut you down to size. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Well, I love you, baby. Don't do me like that.
The great Tom Petty, and that was Tom Homan. He wakes up pissed off, and he is now the border czar as Donald Trump continues to put together his new team for his second administration. Couple of head scratchers yesterday. Fox News anchor and analyst Pete Hegseth, who'll be the Secretary of Defense. Kristi Noem, the DHS head, Secretary of the DHS. And a few people surprised, too, that Trump went with Mike Huckabee and not David Friedman again for ambassador to Israel. But no one argues that the best man for the border is Tom Homan. No one can argue that. He's the border czar, Tom Homan, and he's coming up next.
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Well, I love you, baby. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Well, I need you, baby. Don't do me like that. 'Cause somewhere deep down inside, someone is saying, love doesn't last that long. I've had this feeling inside, night and day.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
You know, of all the appointments, of all the nominations President Trump has made here, which all have to be confirmed by the Senate, I think the easiest one was Homan. Now, Tom has been coming on this show specifically. I know he does a lot of television, Fox News. I don't know if he does a radio show more than he does mine. He's been on the show quite a bit lately because we love Tom Homan, and that was an easy one. He is the border czar, and we're lucky to have him back. Tom Homan, welcome back to Sid and Friends in the Morning. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. A little overwhelmed right now, but always making time for your show, Sid.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I understand why you're overwhelmed. I mean, there's so much work to be done. And kind of on a negative side, I mean, the liberal media has really been kicking your ass, Tom, which, I guess they have a short memory. They forget that back in 2015, Barack Obama gave you an award. They forgot that, I guess. But all this incoming from the liberal media, I know you're a tough guy. You're going to say it doesn't matter. But, man, are they over the top, no?
Yeah, they are. But, I've said it before. I don't care what they think about me. I really don't. I mean, I've done this job for 3.5 decades. I've worked for 6 different presidents, Republicans and Democrats. The job shouldn't be politicized. I mean, look, we have laws on the books, and all I'm asking to do is I'm going to enforce the law. How dare I enforce the law? And that is what it's all about. They don't want the law enforced because this administration has shown if we don't enforce the law, we get 10 million people coming across this border. There'll be future Democratic voters. We can swing their electorate. Look, I'm going to enforce the law, and if they don't agree with that, then I just don't care. I won't be bullied. I won't be silenced. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to do this job for President Trump, but it needs to be done.
100%. That's why you're the perfect guy for this job. And, we love you here, Tom. But there are some people that say, well, I like Homan, but here's the deal. If Homan and Trump are talking about deporting illegals that are criminals, we're all for that. But they're also talking about mass deportations, sending back illegals that are not criminals. Now, look, I know you come here illegally, you break the law. That's the bottom line. But other folks, they seem to be a little more sympathetic towards illegals that are not breaking crimes. Your thoughts?
Well, like I say, Trump and I have been clear that we're going to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats. That'll be the priority. But let me tell you something. We have millions of people coming across the border, making claims for asylum. They demand a right to due process. They demand the right to see a judge making a claim for asylum. And you know what? We do that because the law says they have that right. However, at the end of that due process, when the judge says, no, you don't qualify for asylum, you must go home. Now, if those orders don't mean anything and we're not going to execute them, then what the hell are we doing, Sid? Shut down the immigration court because the orders don't mean anything anymore. Take the border patrol off the border because there's no consequences for entering this country illegally. No. The only way due process works is we'll give you the opportunity at great taxpayer expense to plead your case. But if you order removed, you must be removed. That is a law of the land. And if you don't do it, what's the other option? You're going to enter the country illegally. You can make a fraudulent claim to asylum. You're going to lose your case. But you know what? You don't have to leave. If that's the option everybody wants, you're never going to fix the border because people continue to come to the country because you just put a carrot in front of that. No matter how your case turns out, you get to stay forever. We'll never be able to fix the immigration system that way.
I agree with you. I also would say this. Neither you or Trump are saying don't come. All you're saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, come legally. Do it the right way. That's all, right?
Look, the people that are coming across the border making a fraudulent asylum claim are cheating the system. There are millions of people standing in line, doing their background checks, doing their tests, all that's necessary to come to this country the legal way. Trump wants more legal immigration, but the illegal immigrants are causing the chaos on the border. And here's the biggest thing people need to understand. You think it's all innocent because they're not a convicted criminal in the United States. However, when you bring millions of people across that border, or overwhelms the Border Patrol, where the majority of Border Patrol are no longer on patrol, what happens then? Record number of fentanyl killing 250,000 Americans. Sex trafficking women and children up 600%. A record number of known suspected terrorists crossing the border. And over 2 million known gotaways, and how many of them came from countries sponsoring terror? So if you think this illegal immigration is a victimless crime, it isn't. Overwhelming illegal immigration, rather how innocent you think that is, creates bad things that happen in this country because Border Patrol's overwhelmed. They can't do their national security the national security duties, so they're too busy making sandwiches, changing diapers, making baby formula. We can't run our national security that way. It doesn't work.
This is the borders are Tom Homan. He's got a really important job, and he's the only person that can do this job. I mean that. So, Tom, there's these the sanctuary cities, these sanctuary states, these politicians, like Kathy Hochul, for example, this really crappy governor in my state. I can't stand her. But she's basically saying, hey, Tom Homan, go F yourself, buddy. We got laws with sanctuary states, with sanctuary cities, and you're not going to do what you're going to do. Now, you've come out and said, let me tell you something to you governors and mayors out there. You got a second thing coming if you think we're not going to change some things. What is your message to some of these mayors and governors in these blue cities and blue states?
I cannot believe any elected official, whether it's governor or mayor, I just was clear on what our priorities are. What elected governor or mayor does not want public safety threats removed from their communities? What governor or mayor does not want national security threats removed from their communities? We're going to do it. You can either help us or get the hell out of the way, but we're going to do it. And they can push back and create all the local laws they want. We'll see them in court. We're not going to walk away. We're not going to. The president has got a mandate from the American people, a landslide election. His number one issue is securing that border and doing this operation. It's going to happen. And I hope law enforcement can work with law enforcement because her cops, NYPD, I've talked to hundreds of them. I'm in New York City an awful lot. Every one of those guys want to work with ICE because they understood, look, if you're going to concentrate on the criminals, that is great because it's going to make our community safer, make our jobs easier. So we're going to do it with or without their help. They're not going to shut us down. We're coming. And if we need to send more resources to Sanctuary City, then that's what we'll do. We'll send more agents. It's going to happen. So you better be able to deal with it.
I love it. 2 or 3 more will let you run, Tom. You did run ICE for a while there, and I love ICE. My buddy Curtis Sliwa here running for mayor, he always talks about ICE. But a lot of the politicians here, Andrew Cuomo's on record. He said bad things about ICE. Eric Adams, the mayor in this city, he has said bad things about ICE. We need them. We need ICE badly. Is it fair to assume, Tom, under your leadership, that ICE will finally get the respect they deserve?
We're going to take the handcuffs off ICE and let them do what they do best. ICE hasn't been able to do their job. Let me just say one data point I saw yesterday, and I was reading through some stuff. They said they're going to concentrate on the Biden administration. Mayorkas said we're going to concentrate on just the criminals. If you didn't commit a crime, you're here illegally, you're off the hook. We're only going to look for criminals. Okay, that's our priority. Well, guess what? Under the Biden administration, I looked at the numbers. The deportation of criminal aliens is down 74%.
Wow.
And that's your priority? So, look, not only do we got the regular criminals coming across the border every day, now we have a record number that were ignored here by the Biden administration. Listen, our plate's full. We're a target-rich environment right now because of the failures of this administration. I would think someone like Eric Adams, who spent his career in law enforcement, will understand there's no downside on removing public safety threats from the public. That is his job, for God's sake, and I want to help him do it. But if you don't want to help, same thing to him. Get the hell out of the way. We're going to do it.
Yeah, because he's actually, every day's a different stance with him. First of all, he needs Trump because he's in legal trouble. You know that, Tom. And I guess him and Trump have a relationship. God bless them. But one day he says, yeah, I want to fix immigration. The next day he says, no mass deportation, and I'm bringing more immigrants in. But one day to the next, I have no idea what the hell the mayor is talking about. Do you?
Well, now as a DICE director, we removed more than 5,000 criminal aliens off the street in New York. I've done more to protect that city than he has, and I'm going to do it again. Either he helps or he stands aside, but we're going to do it.
Last one, Tom, the best. It looks like Trump is nominating Kristi Noem out of the Dakotas as the DHS secretary. Now, that's a big job, and you're involved with that because, she's got everything from the Coast Guard to Secret Service, to FEMA, to Flex, all that stuff, but certainly the border, too. And we know that Mayorkas should be put in prison for the job he's done the last couple of years in that same position with the Democrats. Do you have confidence Kristi Noem can do the job? And how much will you be helping Kristi in her effort to do a good job?
Look, I think Kristi Noem is a good pick. I look forward to working with her. And here's the thing about Kristi Noem and myself. This immigration is a big issue. And that's why President Trump is a genius. Pick a border czar that knows his business so he can tackle that big issue. Because she's going to have plenty to do. Fixing the Secret Service, fixing FEMA, dealing with, the Coast Guard. She's got a big job ahead of her. Luckily, I can help her. 100% of my time can be based on immigration, which releases her to do some other important stuff. Certainly, she's going to be involved with the immigration fight, but I'm just saying, I'm a force multiplier for her to help her with the biggest issue facing this country now. FEMA's broke. It needs to be fixed. Secret Service broke. It needs to be fixed. She can spend a lot of time doing that. So me and Kristi Noem going to work very well together.
Last one, Tom. This is the big one. This is the one everybody wants the answer to. How long is it going to take the most qualified man on the universe to do this job, Tom Homan? How long is it going to take to fix it?
Look, we already got as far as the border, we've already done it once before, so it shouldn't be as long as it took us last time because it took a long time to get the Remain in Mexico program through safe country agreements. But it's going to take a little bit to secure the border because the president's got to get these agreements back in place with countries that don't want to cooperate. But he forced them to cooperate by threatening tariffs. So we're going to go on the same road again, but we don't have to write the policy anymore. We don't have to write the plans anymore. We have them, so it should move quicker this time. And look, as far as the deportation operation, that's going to start day one, but how big is that operation going to be? It depends on the resources. What money is Congress going to give us to do this? How many beds am I going to have to detain people in? How many agents are going to be able to hit the streets? Will DOD help at least doing the transportation and some non-law enforcement duties, so law enforcement officers who are doing administrative jobs can get on the street and do what they should be doing rather than processing and building facilities and doing intelligence work and stuff. So DOD could be a force multiplier. They've been a force multiplier on the border to take law enforcement officers out of administrative duty jobs to go do a law enforcement job. So there's a lot depending on what resources we have. The more resources we have, the better we can do. So we'll have to wait and see what Congress does when President walks in that White House. Hopefully they learned their lesson from last time President Trump had the House and the Senate. They weren't helping them. Hopefully this time the American people have spoken and says this is a mandate. We expect not only the president, but members of the Senate and House to support this president to get done what we demand to get done.
I think they will. Listen, of all the appointments, they're all important. Chief of Staff, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. I really think you're the most important one. And I believe with Trump and Homan leading our country, a lot is going to get fixed. So congratulations, Tom. Best of luck with the confirmation. And you and I will talk again very soon. Thank you so much.
And so let me say this. I want to thank you and what you do every day. It's important that we control the messaging on this. And people like you, shows like yours that tell the American people the truth, we need that. There's been too much misinformation under this administration, so I look forward to working with you because people listen to you. And I'm not asking you to do us any favors. I'm just asking you to do what you always do. Tell the truth, educate the American people because we can't lose the faith of the American people. We're going to do the right thing for them. We need people like you voicing this stuff. So keep telling the facts. We appreciate you.
I'm humbled. I mean it, Tom. I love you. I really do. I'm humbled. I really appreciate you saying that. It meant a lot to me, more than you even know. And I will continue to provide that message. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right, pal. There he is. The new border zone. Wow, that was awesome. That's not in Tom Homan's DNA to start handing out.
Oh, my God.
Handing out compliments. I mean, it's one thing when Levin does it, even Kelly Ripa, but...
I was just going to say, like, you'd be on the phone with Mark Levin. Mark, hang on a second. I'm getting a really important phone call. Hang on a second. Tom, buddy, where you been? Tom, are you kidding? I love you, too.
Fingertips and memories, I can't forget the curves of your body. And when I feel a bit naughty, I run it up the flagpole and see who salutes, but no one ever does. I'm not sick, but I'm not well, and I'm so hot, 'cause I'm in hell. Been around the world and found that only stupid people are breeding. The cretins cloning and feeding, and I don't even own a TV. Put me in the hospital for nerves and then they had to commit me. You told them all I was crazy. They cut off my legs, now I'm an amputee. Goddamn you. I'm not sick, but I'm not well, and I'm so hot, 'cause I'm in hell.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
But you say he's just a friend. Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
That's good stuff. Big show already. Brian Kilmeade, Curtis Sliwa, Congressman Anthony D'Esposito, and right there the borders are. Tom Homan was actually very nice. Well, I say this every time I introduce this man. If God is good to me, I'll be 58 in April. And in my lifetime, the two best politicians locally I know are him and Rudy Giuliani. He's the former great congressman, Homeland Security, does it all, raised big money for 9/11. My dear friend Peter King. Pete, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I tell you, I got some tough acts to follow. God, I tell you, it's almost bad. He was following Naomi. I mean, Tom Homan. Tom Homan is great. I remember when President Trump made his first visit to Long Island on MS-13. Tom Homan was with us. He was really leading the discussion. He is so committed on this issue, and he's really a nonpartisan guy. He's not. I never saw him being Republican or Democrat. He just wants to get the job done. Yeah, and that makes you a Republican these days. But he really is. He'll be a great person in that job. I'm glad you had Anthony on. We really need him in politics, in government. He's a great guy. And, we can get down the line. He's a great guest. I'm proud to be one of them this morning. So
no, you're a great guest, too. And, yes, Homan, 6 presidents. As I mentioned, Barack Obama gave Tom Homan an award back in 2015. So he's not partisan. But what's happened is the party has become partisan in its approach to immigration. Republicans doing the right thing, Democrats doing the bad thing. But let's get back to Anthony. He calls in. He's got about 3 more months to go in January. That's it. Laura goes down to D.C., and he's out. He's going to run again. He's going to get something big. Maybe Trump gives him something right now. I don't know. But after what he just did in Congress the last couple of years, it is fair to assume that D'Esposito's best days are ahead of him, yes?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, every issue that you and I would care about, Anthony was right out there up front. Nobody ever had to push him. Nobody ever had to tell him what to do. He knew what he had to do. He got it done. He was a street cop in Brooklyn, had a great arrest record there, did a terrific job. He was expert on the town council in Hempstead. Then he went right to Congress, hit the ground running, and just done a great job. And also, he's very responsive. You talk to constituents. They wanted something done. Anthony was on it. I don't think there's an organization in his district that Anthony hasn't been to. You check him on Facebook. Every temple, every church, every YMCA, every Knights of Columbus Hall. You go down every Little League opening. He's there. And not just to make an appearance. He talks to people. He knows them. He knows what's on their mind, which is why when these issues break, he's out front because he has his finger on the pulse of the people, of his constituents. He's going to be great. He'll be back stronger than ever.
Pete, you served for a long time, about 4 decades. You know the intricacies, the ins and outs of politics. And a lot of folks don't really understand what's going on now. So they believe, hey, if Donald Trump nominates Pete Hegseth, he's the Secretary of Defense. Well, as Lee Corso says on ESPN, not so fast. There is a Senate confirmation process. So there are, I would imagine, a few of these folks that may not pass. I know some of the fighting gets pretty tough between the House and the Senate and these parties. So tell us how that process works, and is it fair to assume that some of these Trump nominees are not going to make it through?
It's happening right now, I'm sure. The Democrats are sitting down in the Senate. And they're saying, which 2 or 3 can we really target? If you go after everyone, you lose your touch. But if they can target 1, 2, or 3 people, and then they go into their personal lives, everything they've ever done, anyone they've ever known, they check them out, they find something on them. And it works the other way. Back when Bill Clinton, his first 2 nominees for Attorney General, would turn back and turn out they're women who hadn't paid the taxes on their babysitters. I mean, that's how ridiculous it got. But that was enough to deny them confirmation. We've seen it many times where they go after Republicans to try to deny them. So I would say someone like Pete Hegseth, because he's high profile, he's from Fox, they will see him as a high priority target. The Democrats will. So I'm sure he'll be ready, but he's got to really be ready to be barraged with anything he's ever thought, said, or done over the years. And then, the media's going to, jump on it and, keep it going. So, listen, I think he's a good choice. I think he'll do a good job, but he's got to be ready. I'm just using him as an example.
Yeah, and what about you talk about the media? You talk about stuff you've done in your life that people will harp on. What about Kristi Noem shooting the dog?
Well, if that's the worst thing you do, listen, can you imagine if President Trump ever nominated you for anything? Like, God, the Democrats would be like a shooting gallery.
Thank God I've got a job, or I'd be calling him to do that. Trust me. I mean, I expect to be on some committee or some advisory board. I think I will be, by the way. But no, I don't need the job. And you're right. I mean, they delve into everything, and it gets. So you're saying that shooting the dog, if that's the worst thing, that's not all that bad.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you've been talking about it this morning. She's a governor of a state, and the Secretary of Homeland Security, I think it's 17 departments and agencies. So you can't be running all of them. What you need is to have competent people in there, and the Secretary sets the tone, watches over, makes sure that things are being done. But you can't expect Kristi Noem to be down there managing the Coast Guard, managing the Secret Service, taking care of all immigration matters. You have to have competent people in those positions. You got to make it clear you're going to be tough. You have to set the tone. You can't be like Mayorkas was. We had Tom Ridge. He was the first Homeland Security Secretary. He was on top of it. He kept it going. And but that, it's really important to have somebody who is a governor in many ways is equipped because they manage like in the state. They have how many different cabinet positions in the state. They can't be handling every welfare agency, every law enforcement agency, every transportation agency. But you have competent people in there, and the governor then is ultimately responsible. That's why I look upon the secretary's job. Mayorkas has been a total failure under the Democrats. Jay Johnson was a very effective secretary because he knew what had to be done, and he made sure people got it done. I didn't always agree with him, but he was very effective, knew what he was doing. Mayorkas is an absolute disgrace. He has no idea whether actually, he probably does know what he's doing, and that's the problem.
Right.
He knows he's letting in all these people.
Sabotaging.
So that's the worst of all. Worse than being incompetent is to be competent doing the wrong thing.
I agree with you. And I think he just sabotages this country every day. One of your residents, Pete King, out there in Nassau County, I think a lot of us thought he was a shoo-in to get the same position he had last time. And that's Nassau County resident David Friedman. He was Trump's ambassador to Israel. But Trump announced yesterday, another great guy, by the way, Mike Huckabee will have that position instead. That doesn't mean Friedman is not going to serve in some role. I know there's other Jewish roles as well. I think he'll be doing something. But were you surprised to see Friedman not come back and Huckabee grab that position?
Yeah, I was. I mean, Ambassador Friedman, I've known him. Before him, his father was a leading rabbi in Nassau County. In fact, he had Ronald Reagan to speak at the temple during the 1984 campaign, which caused him to be attacked from the left-wingers went crazy with that. Ambassador Friedman was what an asset he was. He and Donald Trump worked closely together. I'm sure the president has his reasons, and I'm also sure, first of all, Mike Huckabee is a very gifted person. He'll do a great job over there. And Ambassador Friedman, I'm sure, a key role for him to play because I've seen up close the simpatico between President Trump and Ambassador Friedman, and I can't say enough good things about him. When you think of all the angst there's been with Israel over the years, all the crises, all the wars, there was never so much progress made as under the Trump administration, and the Trump administration in Israel was David Friedman. I mean, the fact is that Iran was attacking people at that time. There was no October 7th during the time that David Friedman was the ambassador. And the fact is that the Abraham Accords, think of that. You had Arab leaders coming to the White House to sign a peace agreement with Bibi Netanyahu.
Crazy.
I mean, that would be unheard of.
Yeah,
and yet it was done because they got no credit for it. And but it was a tremendous achievement. So David Friedman has much to be proud of. And I'm sure he has many, many big days ahead of him.
Pete, tell me about this lunch. I believe the plane has taken off already from West Palm Beach. Trump is in air on the way to D.C. His wife is not coming. She's still mad about the Mar-a-Lago raid and Jill Biden behind all that, going into her drawers and all that. And I agree with Melania. It was disgusting. But Trump is on his way there. He didn't do this for Biden, but Biden is doing it for him. Trump and Biden lunch at the White House. If you were a fly on that wall, what do you think you would hear during this lunch?
Well, it should be civil, but the fact is, one thing in politics, you have a tough campaign, you go back and forth, you attack each other, and when it's over, it's over. But what Joe Biden did was he did something which no president has ever done. They had a raid of the former president's home. They managed to get him indicted 4 times on phony charges. And in many ways, the phoniest of all was in New York, where that had been declined. That indictment had been declined by the Federal Elections Commission, by the Justice Department, by the former DA, and by Bragg himself. And then somebody comes from the Biden Justice Department, goes to work with Bragg, and they come up with this phony thing of coming up with charges. They take a federal misdemeanor, turn it into a state felony. so they can say during campaign that he was a convicted felon. That to me is an outright disgrace. That violates all the unwritten rules of American politics and democracy. They talk about Donald Trump attacking democracy. Nothing was more of an attack on democracy than raiding his home and having these phony prosecutions, and also trying to bankrupt him. People like Letitia James and others, this is going to be looked upon as one of the worst scandals in American history. And when he was president, they tried to undermine it with the phony Russia investigation. So, yeah, I would let Biden know how you feel about it. He's not going to go after Biden, I don't think, but let Biden know that this is not the usual peaceful handoff from one president to another, not after what Biden did to Trump.
Final 60 seconds. This is quite a story. Right there in York County in Long Island, this gentleman becomes the first Republican elected to a council seat in Long Island in more than 50 years. And what I love about this guy is he's an ex-IDF soldier. What do you know about Daniel Norber?
I really don't know him well. I've met him. He's certainly impressive. I think it's great. It shows, again, first of all, I think it's important for the public to know and everyone to realize how, and I've never made Israel partisan before, but it became partisan this year, the Israeli issue, the way the Democrats turned their back and allowed anti-Semitism to run wild. So if we can have people who are so committed to Israel running as Republicans, being elected as Republicans, it's important politically, but it's also important for the country to know where we stand. We are on the side of Israel. This is a fight, not just for Israel. Fighting for Israel is fighting for America because they are the first line of defense against Iran, which is a terrorist state and is going to have nuclear weapons soon. So we have to stand with Israel. I support Israel for many reasons, but probably the most important as an American is that they are essential to our defense. We're essential to theirs, but they're essential to ours. And we can have somebody at our party who has that close connection to Israel. So be it. That's great.
Pete, you're great. That was an excellent appearance. I love you. Thank you so much. And we'll do it again very, very soon. Have a great day. Thank you, Pete King.
Saturday night, I'm going to be at King of Burners with John McLaughlin. I'm going to be talking about you.
Oh, I love John McLaughlin. I love you, and I love Rosario, and I love that restaurant. Send my best, okay?
I certainly will.
Thanks, Pete. That's the great Congressman Pete King. That was a great appearance. And the way he talked about the Senate confirmation stuff, that's important stuff. We'll take a short break. Fourth and final hour coming up after Noem with the news. Our old buddy, real estate mogul Corey Zelnik. He's in studio, and the relentless patriot himself, the great Scott LoBaido. LoBaido and Zelnik. Fourth and final hour.
WABC.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
No, I get by with a little help from my friends.
At a picture right now live on Fox News, Joint Base Andrews, where President Trump is about to make his historic return to Washington, D.C. and have lunch with the sitting president, Joe Biden, today, and he'll be back in 2 months to move back to the White House, becoming, as you already know, folks, just the second president ever to win 2 terms, but not consecutively, the other being Grover, Cleveland. And Lisa Ganji checks in. Our friend Lisa, big New York Met fan. She loves her Mets. She said, I've met Daniel Norber out in Nassau County. He's a terrific guy. We'll take a short break. Lots more to do. I know Brandon Thor's going to stop by, talk about some gold. Corey Zelnik. We'll talk real estate. And the relentless patriot, Scott LoBaido. We'll talk America and Trump. All still to come in the next 40 minutes.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
Donald Trump's plane just landed at Andrews Air Force Base, and he's back in D.C. after this historic win. My man Scott LoBaido is one of the most popular people. I mean that. Not only on this show, but in New York. They made a great movie about him. It'll be streaming soon. It's really phenomenal. It's called The Relentless Patriot. He's a tremendous artist. He painted at almost all of Trump's big rallies. Wildwood, Nassau Coliseum, Madison Square Garden, Butler, Pennsylvania, all of them. And he's just a terrific guy and a great American. Uncle Scotty. Somebody said to me, he's like, listen, no matter who they pick for the press secretary, they got to figure out a way to have you and Uncle Scotty split time. You want the gig, Scott?
100%. Just think about it. Like, oh, you, jackass from CNN. What do you want to say? That's enough. Take a hike.
All right, you're out. Give me the jerk off of MSNBC. What do you want now? On a serious note, do you want something? And I mean, you painted for him. He loves you. You've spoken at his rallies. You're a big deal. Siggy loves you. I love you. If something was available, would you want something in Trump's administration? I mean, you got a job, so.
I have a job. I'm an artist. I don't have a job. Did you hear what you just said?
God. That's true. There's no more rallies to paint that.
Listen
now.
to me. I think I deserve to be part of this new administration where I can be what I am, a creative patriot. You know, I have a million ideas to do things at the White House. You know, we have our 250th birthday coming up. You know, people are forgetting about that in 2 years, 2026.
Next year is the 250th birthday for the Marines.
Yeah. And
next
then
year.
It's like, so this is like a major, so I have great ideas to celebrate that. Now, keeping on that subject, if she would have won in July 4th, 2026, it would have been like your 34th boring birthday.
Oh.
You know, even if we got that far.
Right.
But now, this is going to be, I mean, this is epic. I'm old enough to remember 1776. I mean, I'm sorry, 1976.
Right.
When we had the bicentennial.
Yes.
You know, 200, and it was unbelievable. The ships, the fire.
Me too.
This is going to be the biggest party ever, and I have to be part of it. I deserve to be part of it.
Oh, you do, and you will be a part of it.
I have designs for the Air Force One.
Yeah.
To change it up, class it up with a little patriotism instead of just that light blue, boring stuff. So yeah, I want to have access to the president where I could, submit my creative, patriotic ideas, and of course my battle with the wokeism, like I'm doing right now, which we're going to get into. But what else would he pick me for?
No, but he would love all that stuff.
I have to be part. I better be part of it.
Oh no, you will be.
And I better get the inauguration. I want to paint at the inauguration.
Oh, I'm sure you'll do that too.
So
I forgot
I'm
about
pushing
that.
Yeah, I'm pushing for that. That would be epic.
You don't even
already have what I'm going to paint.
You don't even have to push for that.
Yeah, I know. I should get that. Yeah.
That'll happen. So have you already thought about what you're going to paint that day?
Oh, God, yeah.
You have?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Really?
It's going to be the greatest thing ever.
You're the best.
Ever.
Look at you. No, but every time you paint, it's the greatest thing ever.
I have to top myself, you know what I mean? But now this would be the performance of, all of it.
Well, in all seriousness, you were a major part of his win. You were. I mean, all of us were, but you were a major, major part. And I know he knows that. I know he appreciates that. And I would imagine going forward, you will be a part of his administration and painting and doing all that great stuff. But you come here today, Scott LoBaido, on a mission. Usually you come here, you got somebody in your sights, right? You've got somebody out there you want to take out. And this one is very important, and it's in your own borough. How about that?
Yeah, the reddest of the boroughs, believe it or not. Everyone's all excited, and I want everybody to be excited, But again, people like me and you, I've been in this battle for 35 years, to get us back to where we're supposed to be. And I'm happy that I know I could die in the next couple of years, decades, whatever, that I know this country is now going to live for another 1,000 years.
Really?
Prominently.
The 4 years of Trump mean 1,000 for the history. Yeah, I like that.
It's not only Trump, it's everybody who's now fired up and is not going to take any shit anymore from anybody. When I say that, there's too many people that are like, okay, we can be complacent now, we could chill out. No, chilling out, man.
No.
People are like, Scott, you're going to retire now, maybe go on vacation. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yesterday I was at the College of Staten Island. Why? I had to bring my truck with my giant extension flagpole on it and put a 6 by 10 foot flag. I parked right on the front property on the sidewalk. And why did I do that? Because coincidentally, the American flag on the flagpole at the front of College of Staten Island, the rope broke a couple of days after Donald Trump won.
The rope broke.
Yeah. But there's another flagpole right next to it with the state flag. So I went there yesterday because I put the word out that once I heard about it, the bat signal went out, and I was like, I got to show up and do a flag raising. And they sent out the security guys, and these guys are great. Most of them are former cops, and they know because I love these guys. So the administrators, they send them out to talk to me. And it's not these guys. It's who's telling them to do this. Now, coincidentally, they said if they showed me the frayed rope. But look, Monday was Veterans Day, and that American flag was not on that pole.
You're kidding me?
No.
No,
there's only two reasons.
This is not Columbia. This is
the College of Staten Island. There's only two reasons an American flag should not be on that pole. One, a hurricane. Two, that they took it off because they needed to wrap it on a casket of a dead soldier. That's it. There was no excuse. Okay? No excuse. That coincidentally, 2 days after Donald Trump won, they took it down. Now, why I'm going with this is because this is the new can of worms that I want to open up on. Okay? These colleges, because all of these universities are run by the faculty are mostly woke liberals.
Yes.
Professors that didn't follow their effing dreams, and they hate themselves, they hate America, and their job now is to brainwash these kids with hate to America. That is all changing now, big time. And what do I always say? I don't want to take over conservatively through the arts or the academia. I want fair and balance, and that's what we're going to get. And Donald Trump is going to pursue that. Listen, College of Staten Island, I'm pointing you out. You, the president of the College of Staten Island, Timothy Lynch. Listen to me. I gave you a warning last week because I had a student contact me who was very upset because right after Trump won, the next day, this teacher came in and humiliated her and got another kid that almost kicked the shit out of this kid. That's what's going on at the College of Staten Island. Now, these other students, conservative students, are finally speaking out because they couldn't all these years. And they're coming to Uncle Scotty because they know I will lead the march and get this balance going. I warned the school last week that I will have 1,000 patriots there shutting down that school if they didn't correct the situation. And apparently it is not corrected because I got an email today from another young kid who had an issue yesterday with a student, with a teacher in your school. And I'm telling you right now, my warnings are over. We are coming. There's more conservative students in your school than you know, sir. Okay, and they're ready to get fair and balanced education. They don't want anything else but a fair and balanced equal education without their grades being abused or their lives in danger because a teacher told this kid to take it outside with another teacher, promoting violence on this property. There's a lot more to this story, but the moral of the story is it's my job to continue this battle, and the new battle for me right now is to get academia to create the balance. And these teachers and professors and faculty members need to be called out across the country, and names need to be named, and the red light means the burgers are done and the fries are done. Do you hear me? I want you people to stand up now. This is the opportunity to come out of the closet, like I said at Madison Square Garden. Come out of the closet as the conservative creative you are, the conservative student you are. It is your right to get the education, the creative opportunities that everybody else deserves that they preach of. So this is what we're going to go now. So put your balls on and let's get yourself into the game. Do it. Follow me. We're going to do this.
If I said right now that based on what you just did, I wanted to have sex with you, is that gay?
I don't. Only on the weekends.
No, I mean it. That was so great. And you know how I feel about these universities, these scumbags.
This is the new.
And it's not just Columbia. It's not just NYU.
It's across the country.
This is Staten Island. You guys are redder than Trump's.
And I told them, don't you? They all know me.
I know.
Listen to me. When I made that threat last week about that student, and I said, I got a call the next morning from a representative that got a call from the school, the college, that said, tell Scott to calm down. Tell Scott to calm down. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. And apparently you didn't. Now you, I told you this. You're on thin ice, my pedigree chums, and I will be under it when it effing breaks.
There you go. Now you can't leave.
Now you can't leave.
Now you can't leave. That's why he's a relentless patriot. That's why this segment, when he's on every Wednesday, is one of the most popular segments in all of New York radio. He is the artist, the legend, the great American, Scott LoBaido. Great job. Thank you.
WABC Traffic and Transit.
From the RayCatina.com traffic desk, if you're on the Belt Parkway westbound of the Verrazano, there was an earlier accident there. That has been cleared. We have delays on the northbound side of the West Shore Expressway coming up to Arthur Kill Road. There's a crash with one lane out. Now, a stalled vehicle getting over to New Jersey up on the Goethals Bridge, a disabled truck, right lane going to be out. Earlier problems we were telling you about with that unauthorized tractor trailer on the Wantagh, that has now been cleared up and out of the way. Now, down in South Amboy, where 9 and 35 come together between Raritan Street and the Victory Circle, there is an accident again, the right lane. And also delays northbound on the Garden State Parkway up in Bergen County coming up to exit 161, the exit for Route 4. There's a crash there in the center lane. New Jersey Transit trains, 30-minute delays in and out of New York's Penn Station. That because of an stalled Amtrak train. And also, you've got problems on the Staten Island Railway this morning. They have some signal problems, so they also are going to have delays. An alternate side is in effect. If you're looking for a luxury SUV, it doesn't get any better than a Range Rover or Defender or Discovery from Land Rover of Edison or Land Rover Marlboro. With an excellent selection to choose from, schedule a test drive today. Land Rover Edison or Land Rover Marlboro, Ray Cattina dealerships. I'm Joe Nolan with traffic on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
This is the 77 WABC opening bell report. I'm James Flippin. U.S. stocks mixed, but little changed right now. Meanwhile, the latest report shows inflation accelerated last month. Consumer prices rose 2.6% year over year in October, and that's more or less in line with expectations. The jump did snap a 6-month streak in which inflation had cooled. The rising price of shelter was the biggest factor for the rise in inflation. In terms of specific companies and headlines here, e-vehicle giant Tesla, which has been consistently on the rise since the election, opened higher. Tomorrow, we get a look at inflation in terms of wholesale prices with the October PPI. And looking at the market right now, the Dow is up 72 points, the S&P 500 up 0.07%, the NASDAQ Composite up 0.06%. I'm James Flippin with the opening bell report on 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
Can't touch this. You can't touch this.
A little MC Hammer for you. Nicely done, Lewis. MC Hammer?
Can't touch this.
You got see if you figure it out.
My music. I can't figure it out.
Forget the song.
It's called,
He just said his name.
MC Hammer.
Right. And now,
Brandon Thor. I don't get me. On the phone is Brandon Thor.
This is
Help me out here.
Okay, who are you going to speak to now?
Brandon Thor.
Okay, all right. Now you got Hammer.
Right.
And you got Brandon Thor.
Right. Oh. Now I got it. I've got long days and nights here.
Flippin' is making
I know.
that.
Flippin's like, come on, Sid. All I'm thinking about are these. Who's the next appointment for Trump?
Oh, you're thinking about Homan. That's what you're thinking
I
about
know.
today.
Well, that is true.
Sid, right
Did you
now.
cut that up yet?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, Tom Homan's called.
You cut that up yet? Lou, I still can't believe he did that, Lou. I'm shocked.
I know.
Your face was like, wow.
Well, he stopped everything in the middle of the goodbye.
Right.
I just got to say one
Let me
thing.
just
I
say
gotta tell
this. Oh,
You
my
doing
God.
What you're doing, you are doing almost God's work. Jesus.
I mean,
holy moly.
Oh, God. It is Brandon. And look, we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of America. In fact, as we're speaking, Donald Trump literally just walked down the steps at Andrews Air Force Base on his way to meet President Biden for lunch. Just now, you can point to Clinton, Reagan, Truman, even Lincoln. But nothing compares to how our guy Donald Trump overcame the media, the deep state, and more than $1 billion in negative advertising. Where do Americans put their money now, Brandon Thor?
You know, Sid, it's a great question, and it's really interesting to kind of see the sentiment. I believe I speak for everybody in saying that we have a major collective sigh of relief. When this election took place, and what I kind of am warning my clients is don't allow that collective sigh of relief and that elation to lead to the throbbing hangover of inaction, because the deal is this, fix does not equal disappear, right? Trump is going to fix. He's not going to disappear. He's not David Copperfield. And, I came bearing some gifts here in the form of numbers. And just so people know, the first Trump presidency, what gold and silver did, what the market did and everything like that. And, in November when he upset Hillary Clinton and it was a huge surprise, obviously people are very bullish. Trump's always a pro-business guy. So gold dipped immediately $93 an ounce. Silver dipped $2 an ounce. All right. But the next 3 months after, when everything kind of rebounded, they realized, hey, we're 8 years of Obama's money printing policies and things that we still got to deal with. Same thing. In those 3 months after, gold was up 10%, which in today's dollars, that would be about $270 an ounce. Silver was up 13%. So again, you're talking about something where you have what I would consider metals on sale, just because it's temporary dip is simply, I believe, just the kind of the byproduct of this elation and this collective sigh of relief, as is this market bump up. But it's temporary. The fundamentals, nothing is changed. I mean, the election result has not decreased the debt by $1, or it has not taken $1 out of the money supply that was quadrupled here. And the Trump presidency, in those 4 years, from 2016 to 2020, gold went from 1150 to 1900, which was 70% gain. Silver was 50%, and the Dow Jones still did well. It went from 19,289 to 26,500, which was a 38% gain. So, I mean, a presidency that people would think was very successful, very pro-business, the market did well, you actually did better in metals. And that is simply because, metals are a direct referendum against, the reckless dollar printing and things like that. Now, I just read a stat that the S&P, if it stays where it's at, is going to have the biggest 2-year run this century. So we're talking, and this is Biden, right? So we're talking the last 2 years of Biden's presidency, this market had the biggest run, the most robust market in the century. I mean, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say that this is this has been a real prosperous couple of years under Biden, then I mean, I don't think get a new mirror. I mean,
No, you just can't. No, you can't. So, but folks are listening, Brandon Thor, right now, and you do a great job. You convinced me the first time I met you, and we did those videos together that gold was the way to go. We really did, all kidding aside. But folks that want to invest in that right now, what's the best and easiest way to do it, Brandon?
So listen, it's our number 844-944-THOR, okay, is the number. And I'm going to do a bit of a unique promotion. And this is based on getting people to do things at the right time. And again, November, with the metals being dipped, this temporary dip, this is a great time to do it. Anything that you acquire, whatever dollar amount it is, on January 1st, if metals are higher, you will have the option of getting them at the price you paid today, up to the amount amount that you acquire today, or you can take the price on January 1st and take a good 15% off of it. So that is literally, you'll have your choice of that. Anybody that does deals, let's call it, here till the end of the week, then we can kick that in. And so that's a really good deal. I mean, that's people in Wall Street would salivate over that type of flexibility. But yeah, we're going to do that because I'm trying to get people in while these things are sitting down here. This is identical to Trump's first presidency, and he inherited a much healthier economy. This is a dumpster fire, and so I think the 3 years or the 3 months, in 2016 presidency that really went up, I think that's going to be amplified. So hopefully I can get some of your folks to move. And I promised one of your listeners, Joey and Bruce, that I was going to give him a shout out. So Joe, if you're listening, man, I was going to say hello. And he wanted you to give him a shout out as well, Sid. So.
Nice. All right. There you have it. Nicely done, Brandon. Way to go. Thank you very much. I know you and I are going to talk again very, very soon. Great job as always, Brandon Thor. That's the guy. Invest gold, silver. Nobody does it better than Brandon Thor. We'll come back and talk to the great Corey Zelnik live in studio.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
But you say he's just a friend. Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
Little Phil Collins for you. Love this song. This is a great, great song. Corey Zelnik is a dear friend. I mean, I say a lot of friends are dear, but he really is. He's like a brother to me, and he's a business genius. I've actually called him in the past a real estate mogul. He didn't even know he was that. In fact, one of his relatives, I think, texted him one day and said, was your aunt or something? And said, hey, congratulations, you're a real estate mogul. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then when she heard that, she hit me up for a check.
How are you, Corey Zelnik?
I'm great, Sid. Thanks
you are
for
great. You
having
look
me back.
great. Look like $1 million. I'm sorry you trained. And in the spirit of my beautiful wife, Danielle, who loves you also, and Jessica, Max, Bailey, the whole family, you trained for the New York City Marathon, but you were 200, couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I wound up getting a stress fracture late August.
How'd you get that? Against the 76ers, the Celtics? What was
Exactly.
it?
Doing wind sprints.
So the Knicks won last night. They improved to 5-5. Anunoby had a big game. I keep telling Gaby, that's his favorite thing, the Knicks. Nothing comes close. He's like, come on, the Nets have 5 wins. I go, it's going to take time. There are new faces on this team, Bridges, Towns. Thibodeau's going to figure this thing out. He's got a 9-man rotation. Some guy, Matt Ryan, is out there now, and some guy, Kolek. But I think eventually they're going to gel and be real good. What about you?
No, I agree 100%. You need some time. I don't know if we're as 9 deep as you say, and I do get concerned from time to time that Thibodeau just plays those 6 or 7 guys only.
Right.
I was at a game last week. We were up 30 points in the early fourth quarter, and he had the starting 5 out. And I'm yelling across the court.
Why do you do that?
I don't know. I'm yelling across the court.
I mean, Brunson gets hurt. Robinson gets hurt all the time.
Right, but that's all you need. And then we got
Then we're
problems.
done. Right.
Exactly right.
Surprised
exactly
he done. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That was last week.
Yeah.
How about the Cavaliers, 12-0?
Unbelievable.
Gabe says they're Fugazi. They're a fraud, 12-0.
I don't, look, no one's going to go 82-0.
Right.
But you know what's happened is that, and Justin was talking about it earlier, Mobley's come around.
Yeah,
so now they're a strong big 3.
Yeah, that was me.
Give Justin some credit.
He doesn't even know who the hell Mobley is. You crazy?
Okay. Right.
Yeah, no, I mentioned Donovan Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley.
Right.
Justin just got, way to go, Justin. You know your Cavalier basketball.
Justin, I'm fighting for you.
Justin, I do want to get to real estate here, though, because I love it when you go back and forth with Curtis. And we've got Suzanne here, too. She does a lot of real estate work in the area. But you and Curtis go back and forth because you are the ultimate optimist. But you have to also be armed with some numbers. It's nice to want to do well, but you come armed, you've got numbers. And you were saying last year even, when the economy was really in the dumper, especially here in New York, that it's better than you people think.
Exactly.
Where is it today?
It's better than you people think.
Really?
Yes.
Is it even better than you said it was?
Absolutely. All the number. You know me. I'm primarily on the commercial side, specifically stores.
By the way, before you go any further,
Sure.
It is worth mentioning that the store in your own building, that Joseph Abboud had for years, is still vacant.
No, they're building out. They're building out.
Is that true?
That's correct.
Okay.
All right. But the fact of the matter is that the city has the lowest retail vacancy rate that it's had in forever. Less than 4%. I know, you're making the face.
I walk up and down the west side. Every other store's out of business.
That's it. But if you walk up the main streets of this city, most of them are filled up or filling up. It takes time. Part of it, and we can get into an administration conversation, what it takes to get through to get something open in this city. It takes forever. But look, look downstairs. Curtis beat me up about my optimism when I walked in today. And then he says, oh, yeah, they put a store downstairs. I said, thank you, Curtis. You're making my point.
They did. You're right. You did make your point.
Right. And the group downstairs, Wonder, which is basically a kitchen. They prepare all kinds of cuisine for delivery. They're owned by Mark Laurie, who owns the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he was with Walmart.com.
Right.
So, and this is what people don't always see. They have 12 leases signed in the city, 5 others in the outer boroughs. So that's the coming. And so these companies are making 10 and 15-year commitments to the city because they see it now and they believe in it. And the other part of it is the workforce is back to work.
They are?
In Midtown.
What's the number, if you had to guess?
The number now, well above 90%.
No, it's not.
I'm telling you, because
in what industry?
In almost all, because even my daughter, Bailey, who's working in fashion PR, when she signed on to take up that job, it was hybrid, 3 days in the office, 2 days home.
Right.
About a month into the job, they said, everyone comes to work. Jamie Dimon made this statement a year ago.
Yes, he did. And
Goldman
Starbucks
Sachs
has been very...
Starbucks, they got to put the people there.
Right.
But they're coming back. And so what I see is Midtown retail real estate is hard to come by now because the workforce is back. Now, we have problems with a lot of buildings that are old and stale. They have to be fixed up. You hear about office to residential conversion. So there's a lot of things going on. We could talk for hours on this, but we won't bore anybody to tears.
No, it's not boring. I'm looking at you with my mouth open. This is why you were on Cindy Adams' show for 25 minutes on Sunday.
Yes.
25 minutes because it's important, and you're a great speaker anyway.
Thank you.
You're great. And I want to know what's going on in my city. I've made an investment here,
Yes.
I can go back to Florida. I can work in anywhere I want in radio. I'm pretty good. I don't know if you noticed.
Sure. I noticed.
But I'm here. Here. And I want this city to do well. Just like John Catsimatidis. He can live wherever he wants.
Oh, yeah.
He's here. We're here. So you're going to tell me that you have, are there other major stores? You mentioned Mark downstairs, Wonder, the Timberwolves. Are there other major stores and franchises that are coming back to New York?
Yeah. It's not even just coming back. It's expanding existing stuff. There are new brands coming. If you went Madison Avenue, very luxury, what they call the Gold Coast, 57th to 72nd Street, almost every single store is occupied. Louis Vuitton, we've heard of them, right? LVMH.
Sure. But they're on Fifth Avenue, no?
They're on Fifth Avenue and 57th Street. You know what they're doing? Because the city changed the rules. They're knocking down their building to put it up twice the size.
Okay.
That's their commitment to the city. One more, a company called Keurig that owns Gucci and not the coffee, not the coffee.
Okay.
That owns Gucci and other brands. You ready for this number? You love numbers. 30,000 square feet. 3 levels of retail space.
Big.
They bought it. They purchased the retail condominium for $923 million.
Where is it?
Fifth Avenue and 55th Street.
Wow.
Excuse me, 56th, right opposite Trump. Gucci's going to move out of Trump and go in there.
Oh, they are? Okay.
And so these European brands, long-term thinkers, tired of paying the taxes here, and rent increases every 10 years, they bought the real estate. Prada across the street on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
$800 million. They bought only the store. They own the retail.
Is this American money, though?
No, it's European money. It's their money.
Yeah.
But they're pouring the dollars into the city.
It's not Chinese money
I don't think
Japanese
so.
money.
No. LVMH.
Right.
He's one of the richest people in America.
Right. Well, but those are big numbers.
Those are huge numbers.
900 million, 800 million.
Right. And you'll say, because Fifth Avenue in the 50s is always going to be Fifth Avenue in the 50s. It's worldwide. It's world renowned.
Wow.
2 office buildings on Madison Avenue. Last point, as to what the city's about. Now, the problem is it's separating the classes a little bit, unfortunately. 2 office buildings on Madison Avenue, one at 58th Street and one at 60th Street. They're tearing them down because they upzoned the area, building it twice the size, residential, hotel, office.
Wow.
So we're here. Curtis, come talk to me, brother.
Sounds like you're going to kick Curtis's ass. That was pretty, Lou, right? That was pretty good.
I would not run if I was Curtis.
Right. That was great. Come back next week.
Little stuff.
We should be doing this stuff every week. I'm serious.
Okay, you tell me when. I'm here.
Every week.
Okay.
John Catsimatidis, me, O'Reilly, all of us. You, we're not leaving.
Right.
We're here.
Oh, no.
So when you come on and bring us news like that, because all I walk around and talk about is how bad things are.
No, it's not. Look, we can't. The crime has to be figured out.
Right.
The crime has to
Even
be
your
figured
own
out.
wife had an issue,
Yeah, that
Jessica.
was, exactly.
Right.
It has to be figured out, and we will be fine.
We'll be fine.
This is the best city in America.
All right. Do us a favor on the way out and
Sure.
wish your very, very good friend, the legend himself, Cousin Brucey, a happy birthday.
Cousin Brucey, my friend, happy birthday.
How about that? A happy birthday for Cousin Brucey from Corey Zelnik. Now, don't wish Whoopi Goldberg and Jimmy Kimmel happy birthday.
Please, they both need to go. They just need to go.
That's a great job today, seriously.
Thank you. You know, Whoopi called out John Catsimatidis without saying his name. She said the supermarket operator. Get rid of her. Get rid of her.
Get rid of her. Corey, do this again next week. That was great. That's my dear friend. He's smart. He's handsome. He's got it all. He's got a bad foot. Corey Zelnik. We are done for today. Lou Rapino, amazing job. Justin Ellick, great job. And also Jimmy Flippin filling in for Noem, great job. As my dear friend Gene says, God willing, we'll all be back for a Thursday morning 6 a.m. show tomorrow. Until then, from all of us on Sid and Friends in the Morning to all of you, peace!